What we're working on today is just the FPS-3000, a little bit of stuff on it. We got two things that we got to tackle. Both are power related. The main 5-volt, 200 amp power supply puts out totally smooth, flat power, but it smells like fish. So before it goes fully dead, we're going to take it apart and try to find out which capacitor has decided to smell like fish, and then hopefully fix that. We have gotten some modified ROMs on the VersaBus board, and those allow us to communicate via serial, but the serial port needs plus and minus 12 volts. So we're going to take this little guy right here, which has plus and minus 12 on it, and we're going to mount this somewhere inside this box and wire that up. So that way we have plus and minus 12 to it, and then we need to bring the RX and TX from the VersaBus out. And I can hear the cat going nutso, so you guys are going to get an early cameo. Hey, Sue. Come on, come say hi before you scratch a hole in my door. There he is. Hey, kitty kitty. Yeah, he wants in here where it's nice and air conditioned.
I think I fixed the push to talk problem.
Excellent.
What was it?
I had to set voice isolation on my microphone or something like that. It didn't have push to talk with whatever the setting was.
Yeah, you sound good now, man.
Yeah, it was in studio mode. It doesn't allow push to talk in that.
All right, kitty. I got work to do.
That was super weird because it got real messed up.
Ooh, you guys get a special cameo today from the other cat. She almost never comes over to say hi. What's up, 10?
Yeah, Sue, I remember. No, I'm still echoing. I remember Sue would let me pet him occasionally, but Pen would not.
Yeah, Sue is much more people friendly. 10, she would be happy if I let her go right now, but she's tolerating it. Yeah.
For some reason, I expect that 10 would have tiger stripes and be a brat.
10 supposedly just means spot in Japanese. Or dots. I mean, you often use 10 to like denote a period or something like that. So she's a calico.
Yeah, no, I was making a specific joke.
Oh, I missed it. All right.
You're a better person for it.
Fair enough. All right, let's bring this camera over here and let's get to work on getting this 5-volt supply out of here. This thing is a beefy supply, and even smelling like a fish, it still puts out just rock steady 5 volts.
I have had absolutely no problems. Power One, right? The brand.
No, this one is LH Research.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's LH Research. I can tell that by looking. I recognize their design. Those things are Tang.
The Power One was the company that made all the power supplies that Bowman used.
My 100 has a Power One supply.
Okay. You know what? Before I go taking things apart, why don't I just take a picture of this so I know how to put it back together. All right. So I got my AC line coming in here.
Yeah, the LH Research is who made the Mighty Might that's in the KS-10s. And you have to work really hard to kill one of those.
Yeah, I mean, it's still like, it powers up, no problem. Great 5 volts coming out of it. It's just like, if I get close to it, it smells like fish. And so there's a cap in there somewhere that has given up the ghost or is trying to give up the ghost and hasn't yet.
Yeah, and the power supply will just keep on trucking anyway until the thing becomes a crater.
Yeah.
It's really
It's jumper cables.
such a different supply.
Yours, the supply in your FPS 100 should be the exact same as this one, Coley. I remember it
It
being
is not.
a big blue boy.
It's silver. Of it. It is. Let's see. It is the same specification, but I believe it's made by Power One. Let me see.
5-volt 200 amp.
Yep, 5-volt 200 amp. Two welding cables.
Yeah, they're like straight up jumper cables coming out of this thing.
I
Yep.
think Bob donated 5 subs.
What? Bob, thank you. I'm too far away to see the thing, so thank you for giving me the heads up, Noogie Noogie. But Bob, you legend. Thank you.
No problem, man.
All right. Those are, then this guy has to come off, which is my power switch. We may have a trip to LSSM coming up at some point in time, Bob, if you are thinking about making the journey up towards Pittsburgh.
Yeah, let me know when it's happening.
Yeah, if it depends on England, which is a weird phrase thing for me to say, but if the Tony Sale Award happens and I need to go to England, then my trip to VCF Midwest is it's going to be very short. It's going to be just Midwest. But if I don't win the Tony Sale Award, which I'm pretty sure is what's actually going to happen, I'm going to go visit my brother in Pittsburgh, and I think AJ might even come out to join us in Pittsburgh as well,
Cool.
which would be very awesome.
The heads up, your audio for me is a little choppy. I don't know if that's for anybody else.
That's
My
on your end.
my
I think
audio?
we're hearing you choppy
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, you sound very choppy, Coley, today.
Oh, weird. Hang on, let me try something.
I guess choppy isn't the right word. You'll cut out mid sentence and not come back for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It's dropping out.
And in a sense, that's kind of like being choppy.
All right, I've switched devices. Is that any better?
For the
Oh, yeah,
moment,
it looks
we'll
good so
see
far.
how long you go before you drop out again.
Oh my goodness.
We're gonna have Nevitt standing by though.
Yeah.
That will never not be funny to me. That's good.
He's our hammer when we need it.
I'm trying to find a photo, but yeah, it's the same specification, but a different physical supply. My guess is they had. Yeah, here we go. It's different.
I remember that it was you were rocking a 5-volt 200 amp just like I was.
Yep.
I just
Yep,
could have sworn it was a
I'm-
big blue boy like this one.
It is definitely silver, and it is 200 amps, 5 volts. It's made by PowerTech.
Okay. I can't close that.
Yeah, PowerTech.
Oof, I need to wipe that off. Where's my simple green at? So this morning I woke up, total change of topic, by the way. I woke up with this
Go for it.
idea in my head it's been kind of bouncing around in there for a little bit, but this morning I woke up and it kind of coalesced into an actual thought that I think I can take action on. And it was like the BOMIM spectrometer, the software on it, if I'm understanding it right, has the ability to build a database of spectra.
Okay. Sure.
Which makes sense, right? Like if you're working on a specific thing, you build up a database for common, molecules and compounds that you see regularly. And then you have a search function built into that software. So you take a spectrum of something that's unknown and hop into the search function, load up that file, and it searches through your database to see what it matches. So I need to start building up this database just, for fun, but also because that's the smart thing to do here. And I was like, well, it would be fun if I could, bring y'all along on the journey of building up this database somehow. And, but like that, it doesn't make sense for that to be like main channel videos because it's going to be kind of a short thing. It doesn't take very long to get a couple scans and then we just look at it and there's not anything that's like super dramatic happening. And so I was like, well, I should just start another channel called Usagi Labs and just weekly do like a little 3 to 4 minute long video of me taking a spectra of something or, looking at something under the microscope that's just like using the laboratory equipment that I have in here. And so the reason I'm talking about this is that I made a logo for it, and I think it's the most adorable logo I've ever made in my life. I'll post it up here, unless somebody else is going to beat me to the punch. Do it on my...
Just Redneck Tech 51 and C Cooper ATX both subscribed to the Prime, and Telnut gifted two subs, so that brings you up to 10 for the stream meteor.
Holy crap! Telemark, thank you for the 2 gifted. I will give you a high five the next time I see you, which will be in August, it sounds like. And thank you, Cooper ATX and Redneck, for the Prime subs. That's awesome. Thank you all so much. All right. I'm going to post this in Friday Night Twitch, and then I'll hold the phone up to the camera so that they can see it as well. That's the Usagi Labs logo that I made, which is just so silly. I love it.
Oh, I was imagining those speakers the other way around, but yeah.
That's great.
That's so great. I was like, I should have been editing this morning, and that like I woke up and I was just like, oh my god, I gotta make this thing that's in my brain. Like every once in a while you wake up and it's like, oh, I actually dreamt good things last night apparently because I'm full of ideas this morning.
Real.
Yeah, but I mean I do want to
congratulate you on the Usagi graphics engine too.
Yeah, that's or you mean the 2D game engine, right?
Yeah,
which is
game engine.
Very much so not me. But yeah, there's for anybody curious, there's a like an indie 2D video game engine called Usagi Engine. And the logo is not the same as mine, but close enough that I'm like that, you're like, well, I don't think he stole it from me, but it's not impossible to think that he wasn't inspired by it.
It's
But yeah, I don't have a copyright on the Japanese word for rabbit. I'd be like trying to copyright the word "d."
Right.
His looks more like Hamburger Helper. He's got a horizontal smile. You have I can't say that. A vertical smile.
Yeah, that's an awkward word, but I get what you're saying. So so on his logo he just drew the mouth, and I drew the mouth and nose line, which you often see on like real rabbits. Those the
Yeah.
mouth to nose, there's like a connection there. Sounds gross when I say it out loud, but somehow this one got filled with paint, it looks like. I'm gonna need something a lot sharper than that screwdriver. Watch out, kitty. I know you want in here real bad. But you are shedding so violently that if I let you in there, I'm gonna be vacuuming for a month. Can't fault the cat for shedding, though. It is 105 out every day.
Jeez.
Yeah.
This sounds like the weather here in Nevada.
Oh, you're in Nevada? Yeah, I can't moan. You're just as bad as we are. You're worse than we are.
We
No, it's worse for you.
it's
You have-
unusual for this. Sorry. Oh, sorry, I interrupted. I apologize.
That's all right. I was just saying that he has to deal with humidity where it's very
Yeah.
dry.
Yeah, the humidity. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you're in Texas. It's a dry heat," and I don't know how to explain to them that, like, no, it's actually 103 with 60% humidity. That's not dry heat.
Well, they're thinking of West Texas,
Yes,
not where you are.
yes. As a matter of fact, you could be in the UK. If you're in the UK, I think you're closer to like France than I am to El Paso.
It's the I drove 12 hours and I'm still in Texas.
Yeah. Yeah. When I come back from when I was driving back from California, done that trip twice now. Would prefer never not have to do that again. You get to El Paso, and I'm not even on the eastern border. We're closer to Central Texas, and it still takes 10 hours to get here, to get home. So it's like, hey, we're in Texas. We still have a full third of the drive left.
Oh, now you got me wondering what the world record is for driving across Texas.
Oh, you can do it pretty quick if you're on the highway. And you do Texarkana to El Paso. I mean, if you're in, so this is my favorite stat. If you're in Texarkana, you are closer to Chicago than you are to El Paso. That's one of my favorite stats. Also, the other day, Mickey was like, you told me that Texas doesn't have earthquakes. And I was like, yeah, we don't. And she was like, there was an earthquake up in the Panhandle. And I was like, that's not Texas. I was like, that's a different country. Like nobody's in the Panhandle.
What?
That's you might as well be in Oklahoma.
Yeah, at that point.
What is this thing?
Daggio. All right, which one of you guys is leaking? Dang, that is a cool looking power supply. I had no idea what it looked like on the inside.
Yeah,
But-
they
Oh wow.
they like to use almost like submodules when they lay out the boards. Most of the LH research projects or products are designed to a specification. Like they give you like if you've seen their catalog, they give you a bunch of numbers that correspond to options. And then so when you order a specific one, assuming they don't have it stock, they had some internal computer system that had all their designs in it, and they would type up this string that represented what product you ordered, and it would bring all of the schematics together and crank out the board layouts and everything. And then make however many you needed. And that's how, DEC and IBM and everybody else that was using LH Research power supplies ordered their stuff.
Cool as hell.
But the nice thing about it is once you've worked on one LH Research product and you're familiar enough to feel comfortable working on it, that translates very well to all of their other products because they have the same language, more or less.
I'm trying to think. It was LH Research and Lambda was the other big one for real high end stuff.
Yeah, LH Research kind of still exists. They've been acquired a couple of times, but I think they're still an independent brand.
I think Lambda, TDK owns Lambda now up in Alaska. I mean, up in Canada.
Same. All right, I gotta go blow this out with the air compressor. It is filthy on the inside. And then I gotta try and find which one of these guys smells like fish.
I guess I'm wrong. The company that bought them a long time ago, but they finally killed the LH Research brand in 2024.
All right, this is gonna be crazy loud. Just hang in there for a minute.
Gotta say, the Discord noise thing is working.
Yeah, it's done a pretty decent job so far.
Yeah, Discord is usually pretty good about muting the things that we think are going to be loud. It's bad at transients, though.
Well,
It's
and I
got
don't
a
think
time.
OBS doesn't slice any of that out, so the Twitch guys just got blasted.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, I know.
X Twitch still hates me. Gifted 5 subs.
X Twitch still hates me. That is a great name. I love it. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs, man. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Also, double high five for a great username. I'm gonna remember that one. These big boys are a little looser than I was expecting them to be. This is a gnarly switch mode. I mean, it is pulling no punches. Then again, if you were doing 200 amps in 1985, you had to be good at what you did.
Yes.
I'd hate to see it non-switch mode.
Yeah, I think it would weigh a ton.
All of the HPs, all in that era, well, from the earlier eras are producing a ton of current, and they're all linear, and they take up like a whole their rack unit just to supply the machine. So yeah, it would be non-trivial to do linear power supply at 200 amps.
The 5 volt 500 amp, which is actually 250 amp supplies together. We're in a 24-inch rack, and each was about 12 inches tall, so they're about 12 by 12 by full rack depth.
Wow.
5 volts
Wow.
for linear.
Ouch.
Yeah, that was the ATS test bench for the legacy FA-18 Hornet.
Was that was probably running on Data General or HP?
Running on Harris, actually. It was a Harris H100 24-bit bit slice. the school I went to in the Navy taught me how to troubleshoot that computer down to the individual TTL IC level.
Oh wow.
And for our final exam, they introduced a half a dozen faults to the bench and the computer, and we had to troubleshoot the computer first in order to troubleshoot the bench.
That's cool.
Yep.
Let's get...
Took me about 45 minutes to find all 6 faults, and that was a really good time. The average was about 2 hours.
Wow.
Must be upside down. This must go.
Okay. Let's-
Oh, and those 5-volt power supplies were for the interconnect device to feed units under test and the digital switching and analysis parts system in those. So that's why
Ah,
that's much current.
that makes sense. So,
It's not a really obvious smell that I've got it open now. It just kind of smells like it's coming from everywhere, which is annoying.
is there any obvious like guts anywhere? Did it spill?
Not that I can see. The only one that looks suspect is actually the one that doesn't even smell that bad, and there's no guts underneath it. And the only reason it looks suspect is that I can kind of see under the bottom side of it, but that might just be how it's constructed. I'll see if I can get a picture of it here. Maybe I can get a little bit of flash action going on here.
I mean, is the smell electrolyte, or is it outgassing like polymer smell from just age?
It might just be an outgassing polymer smell. I can't get a good picture of underneath that cap. I can't tell. I'll post it up. Maybe you guys have better eyes than I do. There's one electrolytic on here that, like, the bottom of it looks like maybe it's bulged, or maybe that's just the shape of the plastic. Can't tell.
You don't happen to have a gas analyzer near you, do you?
No. I did want to buy a gas chromatograph, but I ended up not pulling the trigger on it. I should have. That was one of those from the same guy that I got this Bausch & Lomb Spectronic 505. He had a cool gas chromatograph from like the same era, like 50s or 60s, and I talked myself out of it, and I kind of wish I had talked myself into it. Not that I have a great space for it in here, but you know, gas chromatographs are kind of cool.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Apkalar. He's saying that he thinks the rubber bung is escaping out of the bottom of that electrolytic.
Yeah, that's the only one that looks suspect to me.
And you know, you got both of those black electrolytic caps there right next to each other. Those would probably both be worth replacing. The big filter caps all look like good Mallory's.
Yeah, they are good Mallory's. I mean, they're a little stinky. I mean, it's definitely like I can smell fish stuff around them, but I can't tell if that's like actual electrolyte that I'm smelling, or if it's just like the old plastic. So I'm like stuffing my nose in them. This is the stinkiest one, I think.
It may have spread from across it over time.
Yeah, because the fan would distribute it around through airflow. Not only that, if one of those big Mallory's fails, that will literally be the first time I have ever seen one of those actually fail.
Yeah, I've never had a Mallory go, but I've had a couple of Sangamos go.
Yeah.
Sangamo doesn't seem like they were quiet up to the, or I don't know, they had a different formulation, I should say, than probably Mallory and Sprague. But like these big guys from Sprague and Mallory are generally rock solid. Yeah, it's just those two little black electrolytics that are a little how you doing. We'll see. Maybe I can get them. In order to get them out, I got to take the whole board out. So we'll see if I can figure out how to do that.
Generally, there's just either 4 or 6 screws, and they'll be fairly obvious.
Yeah, one of them is absolutely obvious and easy to get to. The rest are going to be a little more difficult, I think.
Yeah, the only thing that I think might bug you is if there's one under that riser, the regulator on the riser.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm worried about. There's one right next to it, so maybe they were being polite.
Yeah, they generally are. LH Research was very good about making their stuff comprehensible and maintainable, because that was their whole selling point. They sold these things to OEMs, and they did not want to be the reason that the OEM had to spend on a service call.
Is there an R5 filter, or like a 120-volt filter box flying around over there somewhere?
You afraid I'm going to pop a reefa?
Well, I'm wondering if that's the fish smell.
Those are generally paper, aren't they?
They're
Yeah.
plastic cased though, and they can be buried inside those filters.
I've had them too.
I mean, I'm looking at where the AC comes in, and there's nothing. There's no caps or anything on it.
Okay, I was wondering if it was in the computer too. Sometimes they're actually built into the plug.
There is a line filter on the chassis, but it smells fine.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember if I've ever actually seen a reefa in an LH Research supply, and I can't think of any.
Yeah, so the AC comes in and it directly hits this toroidal transformer. That is real chunky. And turn the flash off on my camera.
Yeah, the other thing that about LH Research is that they sold a lot to military and government. So they definitely belong to the school of thought of, if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing.
Yeah. I mean, everything about this power supply screams top quality. And the fact that it's still producing like totally fine 5 volts doesn't, means that I'm not that worried about it. It's a little stinky, and if there's something dying, we should fix it while we can.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right. If I'm lucky, this is the last screw, which would make
overall,
around it.
Okay. Overall, I've been really impressed with the components and the construction and the way FPS did their engineering. Like, they seem to choose high quality parts. Their chassis is easy to work on. I've been very impressed.
There's another one right there. Well, I mean, they were selling these to people with lots of money.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if were these things used to process live data, because I could see you do not want your power supply or computer to fail while you're getting a oil. You're testing for oil with explosives, and you have one shot.
One opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted. You gonna let it go? Wait, what's the
So oil exploration, absolutely. These were used for oil exploration.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were also used in weather radar.
Yep.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they used live or after the fact. If it's live, I totally get it.
I mean, in some circumstances, they were used long. At least the data acquisition features that it had were used live.
Oh, that's fun.
You-
You go. You go.
it could do. They had the ability. So, like in the CT scanner, the data acquisition unit was coming into the, I believe, the detector unit, the DAS unit was coming, and then it was sent out to the FPS. I need to reread my technical documentation because there was a way to get data directly into the memory on the FPS systems. There were I/O processors. We talked a little bit about them on the Discord. There are I/O processors and things in here, and they interact with the share main memory with the processor, and those are optocoupler I/O. We have schematics for the optocoupler I/O board, and they're programmable. I think I might have one. I got to go look for one, see what I have in my inventory.
That sounds very similar to what the BOMEM vector processor does, because the data from the spectrometer comes into the vector processor.
Yep. Direct into the VP at 15 kilohertz or so. And it goes into a big ring buffer.
I don't remember exactly how FPS did it beyond they had a fast DMA facility to main data memory. So you get a 38-bit word incoming, and it can go directly to main data. I've ordered a few more cards from our favorite supplier to try to figure out material. So I/O cards, interface cards, things like that. So
I keep forgetting to order more solder braid.
Yeah. And the week, so why not?
All right, that's got to warm up. But if I'm going to replace these, I got to go find replacements, which looks like 1,000 and 2,200. It's either 2,200 35 volt, 1,000 35 volt. Okay.
Once you start heating them up to desolder them, they're going to tell you really quickly if they're the source of your smell.
Yeah. All right. 2,200 and 1,000 at 35 volt. I don't think I have anything out here, so I'm gonna have to make a run inside and see what I can find. But let me see what I got. Well, that one's in the wrong direction. That's 39 microfarad at 400 volts. There's 220. That's all going to be too small of stuff. These guys are 100. Yeah, I'm going to need some big boys. All right, I'm going to have to set the microphone down, run inside and grab some caps. I will be back in a bit. If I can get my stupid box to fit back in the drawer. There it goes.
Somebody's got an FPS in a dungeon somewhere. Apparently, I found a picture.
What?
All right.
I put it in the chat.
I will be back shortly.
That's just Cully's.
You're serious? Oh, God damn it! It is Cully's.
Where did you post this? Hang on.
It's in
See
Friday
those
Night
two
Twitch.
drives? Those are the Fujitsu's, right?
Yep. Yeah. So this is in a bit of a disorganized state. So this is my FPS. Those Fujitsu Eagle HD were involved.
Oh, you're cutting out.
You're
Yeah.
dropping out again.
Falling off the back of it. Crap. Hang on.
Okay, it's back. Yeah, it's the one that fell. Yeah.
I think my Wi-Fi is just bad. I'm on cellular now.
Okay.
Well, anyway, they fell out of the back of a truck while being unloaded, so I got them for free. And
Literally, clarify. Literally fell out the back of a truck. It not like
correct.
They were stolen terms.
Correct. Absolutely. They literally, while being unloaded into the museum's warehouse, fell out of the back of the truck and hit the ground face first, right in the ground. So they might be good. They might not be good. All of the shock indicators are tripped. So I brought them all home to test them. One of them is for sure dead, but I had the HDAs out to move them, and then I got busy and they never went back together. They are back together now.
I didn't even see those. I was looking at the this and the machine and the stone wall behind it.
Yeah. So this the house that I live in, for some context here, is from the 1910s. So the bottom of the foundation is all fieldstone, and at some point the top of it was replaced with brick. So that's why it looks kind of dungeony.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah, this yeah, that's my my 100.
That was
This one is
right.
No, this was GE Healthcare's machine. This machine is weird because it has no facility for a second cabinet. It has no facility for the XP22, and it just has a ton of main data memory, like way more main data memory than any other FPS we've ever seen. So it's was kind of a medical machine, but there's a lot of mystery around why it's configured like the way it is. I don't know.
These were CAT scan things?
Yes. Yep. So
makes sense.
this
They
is
have a lot of data.
Yeah. Well, this is the development box, and what I suspect happened was that either they specifically ordered this with extra memory for software development, or they were trying to get it to work without the extra processors, and then couldn't do that, so they went with the extra processors. I don't know. It's real weird. I don't fully understand why it is the way it is.
We had I think there was a subnist from 8-Bit Ball.
Heck yeah. Thank you, dude. 8-Bit Ball. That's also another interesting name. Yeah, I totally don't have replacements for these.
As a software dev, I can tell you when we order stuff before a project's done, we tend to go hog wild because we don't know how much we're going to need before the end, so we assume the worst case.
I've got a 6200 at 25 volts, which is not enough voltage and too much. I've got a 3300 at 50 volts, which is too much capacitance and also way too big. And then the rest of my stuff is all high voltage stuff because I was accumulating capacitors to work on HP gear. So like 150 microfarad at 400 volts, 100 microfarad at 250 volts, 39 microfarad at 400 volts. And then I got these WEMAs.
Yeah, the most suspicious one is the 1000, right?
Yeah, and I've got plenty of 1200 microfarad caps, but they're all 16 volt. I don't have any 35 volt stuff. I might have a 50 volt, but I don't know if I've got it at 1,000 microfarad. Let me pull that one and we'll give it the old sniff test, and maybe I'll throw it on the LCR.
ESR meter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Depending on what it is, the value might not be super critical, but that's highly dependent. If you had a schematic, you could make that determination. But I would say replacing in kind right now is the best bet.
Yeah.
You don't have two 500s.
I might have two 470s. I could try that. I'll have to make another run inside. But if we toss it on the ESR meter and it's like totally unquestionably fine.
I like this comment. Do the hacky fix, run it with an ozone generator aimed at the air inlet for a bit to deodorize it. Then smack it and say that's not going anywhere.
That's the
from,
correct answer. That's the real answer here. This one doesn't actually
that's from
smell that
Furlon TV said that. He said, wouldn't just reflowing the caps without fully desoldering point out the culprit? Massive fish smell when you reflow the problem caps.
Yeah, potentially, but there's only two caps that are soldered. The rest are bolted in, so I can't really reflow those. I mean, I can like rebolt them, but that doesn't.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess you could heat the bolts with the soldering iron,
Well,
but I don't know.
do you remember when we had the pan supply for the S140 at InfoAge out, and it was real fishy when we cracked it open?
I don't really remember that. I remember getting bathed in the dust from the two hard drives as they spun up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know if you were there when we did this, but we cracked open the power supply and it smelled like fish, like just awful. And heating up the caps, I didn't really notice any change in the smell when we replaced them. Now they're all replaced. Power supply is working great. But definitely the caps we pulled out smelled like fish. It was disgusting.
Yeah, this one does not smell like fish. This is the 1,000 microfarad. See if I can get the camera to look at this without like a massive glare. It's coming up as 874. It's a little low. How do I get to ESR on this thing? ESR is 0.06 ohms, it says. I guess. I don't particularly know how to use this thing. But it says 0.06 ohms. That seems like really good to me.
The buttons.
If I drop the frequency to 100 hertz, we bump up to 915 microfarad, 914 microfarad.
Seems fine to me.
Yeah, I think that one's all right.
60 milliohms at 1,000 microfarad sounds. It's about right.
Yeah, I think that one's fine.
For a decent cap. I mean,
yeah, let's see if we can get that. I'm just gonna put this one back in, man. Like, it doesn't visually show any signs of like leakage. And
that's not the one that was bulged.
That's the one that we thought was bulging, but I took a picture and posted it up, and I think that's just how the plastic looks, man.
I mean, there is
Oh, I
always
see
the
it.
option. Bathe it in deoxit and send it.
Well, I would like to
He
find
did-
the one that's leaky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
I
agree.
would say this one's fine. It doesn't smell of fish after desoldering it. It measures out to at 100 hertz on the ESR meter, on the LCR meter or whatever it is. It measures out to 920 microfarad, which it's 1,000 microfarad. That's within spec. The ESR seems fine. I think that cap is okay. So we'll pull the other one out and see what it does.
Is that the way the rubber looks? Is that like that? Because it gives you basically a path for the liquid and gas to shoot out.
That's a solid guess. But I don't know. I don't know anything about where's Shelby. We need Shelby. He's read
Yeah,
more
he
about
would know.
capacitors than anybody alive, I think.
I know batteries have vents kind of like that. You don't want those to fail.
Yeah, that one doesn't smell either. Like zero fish smell coming out of this guy.
Did it have a piece of paper under the circuit board?
Yes.
Does that smell?
You guys are just like, hey, put this weird thing up to
It-
your nose.
Well, it's this is gonna sound stupid. It's fish paper, which really doesn't mean it smells like fish. It's but those can have like vulcanized rubber and resin and crap like that in it that could cause that smell.
It's aramid paper. I mean, I'm getting a little whiff of a smell here, which would be in that front left corner where the smell is definitely the strongest. So I think it might be one of those output caps. Has gone maybe slightly leaky. Those can unbolt those, so we might unbolt one of those and toss it on here. Although they're like 40,000 microfarad, so let's see here. This guy is 1 kilohertz, might be a little fast for it. This one is supposed to be 2200 and it's 2170. That seems correct to me. On ESR here, it's 0.05 ohms. Yeah, that's totally an all right cap. All right. Well, that's good news because I don't have replacements for those. That one's
If it
going
was
strong.
leaking, wouldn't you see, or if it was leaking enough to smell, wouldn't you see residue?
That would be my guess, but I mean the power supply still works, so it you know we're not behind. We're not like at a point where something has died.
Yeah, no, I mean, okay, those are mounted with screws. You can just unscrew them and look underneath them if you want.
Yeah,
The
that's
big
what I'm
ones.
gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, and we don't need this guy anymore. Yeah, I'm just gonna unscrew them. There's the two right up front are the two that I think are the most suspect. These ones in the back I think are they don't have as strong as a smell. All right, let's get you out of the way. Let's take you around. There we go. Let's see if I've got the right sized wrench out here for those guys. I definitely think you're going to be too big. Oh, nope. That one is correct. So this is the most suspect one, because this is the one where it feels like the smell is coming from. And I don't think I have a replacement for this one, even if it is smelly, so I don't know what to do about that. I'll go up and dig, but... yeah, that one's definitely a little stanky. I mean, I don't see any, like, residue on it. Wipe the outside down here. And the little vent thing, oh, maybe just ever so slightly. Let's see if I can get the light right. Yeah, I think I've got just the beginning of some leakage here. Check this out. I mean, it very well could just be dust, but also, like, if you look from the vent cap, or the what do you call that? The vent plug. You can see like a little bit of dirty nut nastiness.
See residue.
It may have just burped a little bit because it hadn't been powered on in years.
Yeah, that might be what it is. It might have just burped a little, and I'm just smelling what it burped.
So clean it up and send it.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do, because I'm pretty sure I don't have a spare one of these. This is 40,000 microfarad. I don't even think my LCR meter can handle this. This is way too big for it. We're gonna have to bring that frequency all the way down to 100, but even then it might still just completely go. Oh, it's showing up as 11 millifarad. So that's way low according to this thing, but I don't know how accurate this thing is when it gets to really big caps.
What's the voltage?
7.5.
Seems like it's slowly drifting up as the cap charges.
Yeah, it's definitely drifting up. Extremely slow.
Well, yeah, because that thing's trying to charge that freaking monster up.
Yeah, it's trying to charge up 40,000 microfarads. I've never gotten good readings out of this thing when the cap is very big. I don't think that's kind of what this thing's intended purpose is.
Yeah, I doubt it. They probably didn't make it with those things in mind, considering nobody's used them in decades.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't hook one of my 100 farad caps up to it?
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm half tempted to say put a volt, now that it's off, put a voltmeter on it and see what the voltmeter shows you.
I mean, it'll have been charged to something by the
Yeah, but it's probably beans.
yeah, I imagine it's probably 200 millivolts or something.
Yeah, now here's a question. I wonder if you get like a AA battery, just put a AA battery on it for a split second, give it a volt or so, then run your meter again, see what your meter gives you. It might be a more sane number because the meter isn't fighting to charge the thing as much.
Oh, wait. .008 volts.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. My voltmeter drained it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I might put it on the bench power supply and see if we've got any leakage current.
Yeah, that might not be a bad idea. I mean, if anything else, they'll charge it up and then you can try metering it again.
Yeah.
Because the meter will probably give you a better number when it's not fighting to charge the damn thing. It doesn't. I don't think those have a built-in bleeder.
Well, yeah, but I'm not sure how it'll handle any kind of voltage going into it. I mean, it has a big warning on it that says discharge before testing.
Oh, never mind then.
Yeah.
I thought that was the kind that there's some of those meters are rated for use on a charged device, and I assumed an expensive one like that would be one of them. But if it says discharge first, then no, don't risk your meter, because that cap will absolutely wreck that meter. Probably set it on fire.
It was just like a freebie that the Keysight guy threw in when he sent the scope.
Does your regular multimeter measure capacitance?
It does, but it's worse than that thing. I mean, I can give it a shot and see what it says. If I can figure out which one it is, there we go. Usually when they're like super big like this, my regular multimeter just sits there and auto ranges forever. Oh, it says 30.7 millifarads. That's a heck of a lot closer to the 40,000 microfarad it's rated at.
Yeah, it's a little off. You might want to try reforming it with the power supply for a little bit and
I mean,
measure it again.
It should have reformed itself. I've had the thing on a bunch, but
Well, that's true.
yeah, I'm going to run the power supply on it and we'll see what happens.
You can run it closer to the 7 volts that it's rated for.
Yeah, I'm
And the
going to
might help.
send it a little hard. Really wake it up properly. I got to get my clip leads out though.
And also, if it starts to smell when it's under power from the power supply, then you definitely know what's up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you'll blow up a small LCR meter if you put it on a charged cap, but I thought the big expensive flukes could deal with it.
I don't think
those
that one
things
is so fancy and expensive.
Oh.
Like I think it's just like literally a swag bag type LCR meter.
Oh, okay. I thought it was. Huh. Okay. For some reason, I thought it was a fluke meter.
No, it's a Keysight.
That's a good meter.
Yeah, it's a good meter, but I don't think it's meant for 40,000 microfarads.
No, it's almost certainly not.
Oh, it helps if I plug my bench power supply into the outlet, huh?
Oh, I thought you did that on purpose.
No. All right, there we go. All right. Well, zero current at 0.9 volts. 2.2, 3. There's 4 volts. There's the 5 volts that it's normally sitting at, 0.00 amps. I mean, you know, the DC power supply is not exactly high precision here. Shelby would get upset if he saw more than like 10 milliamp of current draw. And I'm like, man, it's not even 100 milliamps. We're good. Yeah, we'll push it up to about, there's 6 volts, back down to 0.00.
Is it heating up or anything?
No. I mean, it's a little stinky.
Yeah, because we already established that it burped. The question is it getting worse?
Is it continuing to burp? That's at 6.9. It's rated for 7.5. It's drawing 0 current.
Well,
It's not-
this was
it's not hot
more.
or warm.
Yeah, if it's not getting warm, it's not, obviously stinking out loud, and we're showing no current. It's probably good to clean it up and then
Send it until it
send it.
dies fully. Yeah, I'm all for doing that. I'm all for sending it until it actually does go wrong. I mean, it's on the output, so the worst that'll happen is that I just end up getting ripply 5 volts and it doesn't run right.
It looks like
Yeah, that's a good idea. Make sure you clean the bus bars in case the bus bars got anything on them.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
It looks like a replacement would be about $40.
Yeah, no, they're not cheap.
So you said
It could
that was a
definitely
40
be worse.
microfarad?
Yeah, 40,000 microfarad, 7.5 volt. I mean, it's on the 5 volt rail, so as long as it's more than 5 volts, you're good.
Your meter caps out at 20 microfarad.
At 20,000 microfarad, you said?
No, 20.
microfarad. 20 microfarad's very low. That doesn't seem right, because I was doing just fine. Are you sure it's not 20 millifarad that you're reading?
Oh, you're right. I'm an idiot.
Okay,
It's late.
there we go. Yeah, 20 millifarad would be 20,000 microfarad, which is half of what this guy is. And I think what we were actually seeing on this. So yeah, this meter is not going to handle a 40,000 microfarad.
I'm actually looking at the instructions now. But by the way, that thing to buy that right now at Mauser is $745.
That Keysight meter?
Yep.
Holy crap! I thought it was like a $200, $150 LCR meter. Jesus. All right.
1733, right?
Yeah, 1730 U1733C.
Yeah, it's $745.39.
Holy crap. That Keysight dude, no wonder he hasn't no wonder he's ghosted me. Like he must have gotten in trouble. He sent me $21,000 worth of stuff for free. Oh my gosh. All just because I was just like, hey, do you think we could work out like a sponsorship deal where I get a discount on your cheapest 4-channel scope? I'm pretty sure that's exactly what I wrote. And he was just like, oh, I'll send you something. I got a box on the way. Absolute legend, man. But
suggesting that, yeah.
yeah, Avery gets all the props because he was like, dude, just send him an email, man. Like they send Mark stuff all the time. Why wouldn't they send it to you? And I was like, yeah, the worst they can do is say no. And that's like the tool that I've used the most. Although it's a double-edged sword, right? It's a really nice oscilloscope, but every time it's on camera, I get a comment from somebody that's like, oh, look at Mr. Rich Fancy Pants over here with his $20,000 scope. Must be nice to be a rich YouTuber. And I'm like, I don't think you understand how close I am to starving. Like, this was free, and it was a fluke accident, even though it's not a fluke.
I think they've probably, I mean, you did 2 or 3 mentions of it on YouTube. That's
I did a full-on mention on the first episode that I had it. And then but when they sent it to me, they said the only rule is that the only thing that we ask is that whenever you show it on camera, you zoom out just enough for the Keysight logo to be visible. And I do that every time it's on camera. Like it's still, 2 years later, for however long I've had this thing, I make sure that I adhere to that advice. But the day that it showed up, I did a full-on shout out to Keysight.
Yeah, I don't think that guy got in trouble, and I think Keysight definitely got their return. The only
I don't
problem is
know.
we don't know how many
Yeah.
folks in your audience can afford
That's
one
what I'm
of
saying.
those. I certainly
Like, I
can't.
feel like my audience isn't necessarily flush with cash, let's say.
There,
I'm just
I
gonna
mean,
put this thing back together, man.
some
I
of
think
us work at companies that do buy scopes, though, and that's where they win.
true. And I think that's probably what they were hoping, is that, like, you know, somebody who's working at it, I don't think they're expecting any individuals to spend $20,000 on an oscilloscope. But if an individual is at a company and they're placing an order for new oscilloscopes for their lab, that individual might recommend that the company buy from Keysight. You know, and then Keysight gets a $50,000 order for 6 scopes or whatever.
Well, that's like EEV Blog getting all that Rhodey and Schwartz equipment. Same reason.
Yeah, except that he's got like 1.4 million subscribers or something like that.
Well, yeah, but it's definitely sales. And you know, if I was in the market and I had the money, I'd definitely look at Keysight's products.
Yeah.
They do the same thing with schools. They'll hook up schools with discounts because the students learn, and then when they go out in the professional world, that's the stuff they know.
Well, there was, you know, Apple donated an Apple II Plus to about every school district in the country. Just one, though.
That's to come up. We had Apple IIs at our school when I was growing up.
Adobe does not give a shit about piracy with software because it means people are using their software and will go professional and use the software professionally and buy licenses.
Yeah, well, that's why they've got like free student licenses and whatnot. Their whole goal is to get you locked in onto their software. And then once Adobe is the only thing you know, you're stuck.
First taste is free.
Yeah. And I've never met anybody that's like, I've never met anybody that's like, I love Adobe. Everybody's like, I hate them. They're the devil. They're the worst company on the planet. But we're locked in.
Those Adobe student licenses, they're not cheap. They're not free. They started charging for those years ago, and they charged the schools a fortune.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize they were charging for them. They were free when I was.
Oh, it's expensive.
Oh, and now the student
license for a
license.
while to give. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say that now Adobe, it isn't a license; it's a subscription, and it isn't that much big of a discount. It's like at most 50%, depending on the school and how much the school is subsidizing the subscription. It's not good.
I tried it for a little while when my wife, she worked at a teaching hospital, so she had an EDU account. I think it was $30 a month, but that was everything. It's not that cheap anymore.
$30 a month is still pretty expensive because it adds up. I mean, that's why I'm on DaVinci Resolve. I paid $400, but I paid it once and it's for life. And I'm still getting free updates monthly almost.
I wanted to just go through and see if their software was that good. The only thing I had used up to that point was Photoshop, and at this point, I've moved on to open source pretty much everything. I wasn't getting my, $30 a month, which is what, $360 a year.
Well, I bought Microsoft Office 2016 on the home use program back then, and I'm still using it, but I got an email from Microsoft saying that Windows 11 is the last operating system it'll install on, and I can no longer install it on my Mac either. Even though if I have
fair, they still keep the single C buy it once license.
Yeah,
it's not hard to find.
No, it isn't hard to find. But I'm just saying that they're sunsetting their older stuff.
Because they don't want to have to support the damn things.
Well, true, but
Well,
I mean,
their buy it once licenses are also for a software that's quite a lot more limited than the actual CC software as well.
No, this is
Oh,
this is Office.
Oh, you're talking
This
about
is
Office.
Office.
I thought we were still on
No.
Adobe.
Also,
I thought we were still on Adobe hate.
Understand.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck Adobe. Like 100%. I was also kind of mad recently. I bought the lifetime license to Affinity.
I don't know.
And
What is Affinity?
Affinity is a suite that kind of competes with Adobe.
Okay.
It is Affinity Design is an illustrator like. They have a photo editor. They have a layout tool that's like Publisher. And they all work together really well. And Canva bought Affinity from parent company Serif. And then they're like, oh yeah, we're just gonna make it free. Which, cool. Like, I appreciate that they're making it free, and I the reason for it. But it sure smells suspicious.
Yeah,
I've been
nothing
to
is
this
free.
game
So
before.
they're making money somewhere. So where are they making their money?
Integration into Canva. They make it really easy to import and export out of Canva.
Yeah, speaking
And
of,
And they're charging for AI.
yeah.
okay,
And
There
then
you go.
they specifically charged for the AI so that they were like, this is an optional thing. You don't have to use it. Because when Serif was thinking about adding AI features, everybody was like, fuck you. No, we will walk away. And like, if we did add AI features, it would be an added thing that you would pay for. And it would run locally. But if you ever want a really good graphic design suite, go grab Affinity. It's actually really good. But
For Windows
You know,
only.
no, Windows and Mac.
Yeah. No Linux.
It does run pretty competently under Wine.
I never once got
Um,
Wine to work correctly for me, man. I had troubles with it the whole time.
It can be a fickle beast, and I have learned that the most important part about Wine is the more mainstream your distribution is, the more likely it is to work. So
Are we
Ubuntu is
gearing
probably
up?
going to work on it.
Are we gearing up for another Linux rant?
no, not
It's just-
not unless I get my Adobe Acrobat rant, because they have made it freaking worthless. I have to have an actual Acrobat license because of work, and as of this morning, they have increased the AI pushing to a point where I have to close no less than 6 use our generative AI messages before I can look at a PDF. And even when I'm looking at the PDF, they have moving advertisements. And this is a paid for professional copy. This is not hacked. This is completely legitimate, and it's on a Mac, so it's not a PC thing. They have moving image advertisements underneath the PDF for their AI features. That way they are never completely out of view. You can't search the document. You can't do anything without it telling you to use their AI instead.
It's
sounds like Adobe.
it's that bad on PC too. It's horrible.
It's terrifyingly bad. And it's partially because they're hemorrhaging money on it.
I don't care.
None of these companies are making money, except I think the only company that's actively made money off of it is Microsoft at this point, because
But, like, what alternative is there? Like, I even on when I was on Linux, I never found a good PDF viewer. Like they were all kind of garbage.
Sumatra is my go-to, but if I need something that's competent, I love things in Chrome.
Oh Jesus!
Sumatra is what I'm running here too. Nitro is
So
another
we
good
found the
paid
richest guy
one.
in chat who can afford enough RAM to run Chrome.
To be fair, Chrome is XPDF wrapped in a little bit of shenanigans. But like there are some really good PDF readers. The one that KDE built, Ocular, is really good.
That was the one that I used, and it was still just like it struggled with different types of PDFs. I mean, it was all right.
Oh yeah,
but it wasn't good. Like Acrobat circa 2004 was good, you know?
Oh yeah.
I can't rotate an image or rotate a page in Acrobat without it won't let me. It wants me to buy a paid license.
Yeah, for Reader, yeah. Adobe Reader is just like a sad husk of what you want your PDF reader to be.
I mean, they changed the industry. It was the standard everybody went for data sheets and data books and God knows how many other things. And then they took the tool and then shitified it so much that nobody wants to touch it.
Yeah. The good news is that once they're dead and gone, somebody will make a reader that is good enough. And because the format is good, the format is actually a published standard, so they can't do anything to screw up PDF files themselves.
Oh yes, they can.
No, because it would only be a proprietary extension to it.
Half of the things that most people expect out of PDF are Adobe proprietary extensions.
Yeah, but they're all published.
No.
Like, I mean, okay, what's one of them? Now, remember, FormFill? But is that something that, websites generate? If a website is generating it dynamically, then it's not being done with a licensed copy of Adobe Acrobat Editor. It's being done by some program, which means they have
the
to...
IRS uses it heavily. Also, their entire JavaScript extension. The IRS, a lot of banks, they have an entire JavaScript engine that is their own and is weird and funny. There's server backend extensions that are funny and weird, but people seem to like them for some reason. Technically, comments on PDFs are not part of the standard. The one thing that is particularly standard, but Adobe fucks it up anyway, is table of content spines.
I'm just gonna hop in right quick. Let's take it easy with the F-bombs. I do try to keep swearing to a minimum. Nobody's in trouble.
Oh, did I drop it? I'm sorry if I did.
Oh no.
The third one from Dora Fox.
I think that was probably me.
Yeah. You get me alone and I'll drop a bunch of them real fast. But while we're online, we're trying to keep them to a minimum. No worries.
Understandable.
Anyways,
yeah. There's a lot of places where Adobe will fiddle with the standard or use the standard to the letter. Their PDF encryption is one of them. They have 4 different versions of the PDF encryption, and none of them are quite to the standard. I mean, technically, PDF encryption is only a de facto standard.
Yeah, I guess what I'm thinking about when I say they can't mess it up is that they can't retroactively make already generated PDFs unusable. They can't remotely kill all of them or make them all unrenderable, like what happened with SWF. Because there's too many things that have either reverse engineered how their extensions work, or the extensions are just published. Like if your bank's website is generating this, then there's a piece of software somewhere that is not under Adobe's direct control that knows how to create that data structure.
I believe they do have a data server-side distiller. They do have an SDK for doing stuff. But yeah, that is fair. There's a couple of spaces. God, what was it? I encountered live PDFs which go through through a service of theirs. The idea being that they tried to fight with against DocuSign.
Oh, I hate DocuSign for a whole other set of reasons.
I hate DocuSign for a whole set of reasons, but they are, unfortunately, one of the few that it's a hell I can accept and live with for now. I would prefer to not deal with them, but unfortunately, we live in a capitalist hellscape.
I mean, sometimes the crazy crap you have to deal with certain companies. Qualcomm, they will put your name
Yes.
on every page of the data sheet, as a background, watermark. And it's because they know then who leaked it. And God knows what else they stick in there.
If you get PDFs from in the academic world from Elsevier, they have a couple of quote unquote anti-piracy things. If it's Elsevier via JSTOR, they watermark every page with the university that you are from, the IP address, the access date, and a handful of other things, like the session ID. If you get it through Elsevier, from Elsevier through a couple other paths, they add adversarial postscript so that when you go to print it, you get pages of black.
Jesus.
Oh.
I mean,
That's horrible.
When I was in university, I remember like the teachers singing the praises of JSTOR. And then as soon as I was out of university, I don't remember anybody ever saying anything good about JSTOR.
JSTOR is unfortunately, there isn't anything better. From a research perspective, JSTOR is amazing. For anything else, it's Big Bill Hell's used PDFs.
That is such a great way to put it.
Jumper cables are back in. Almost.
Screw you, academia.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of, but I'm like, damn it, we already got warned about the F-bombs. I can't say it.
You're a dumb enough schmuck to need research papers. We think you're a dumb enough schmuck to come down to JSTOR's used PDFs.
Well, I think one of the worst things they're doing in universities today is when you've got to rent an electronic copy of a textbook for the semester for $100, $200, $300, and then it goes away at the end of the semester. And it's the same book for the next semester. There's no discount. You're paying the full semester price for it again.
Wait, they make you rent books now?
Oh yeah.
Yes, there are varieties of books that you cannot buy a physical copy in the United States for. I taught people how to buy non-US copies of them, which is already a bit of a landmine field because of, especially math books, they will rearrange the questions for each area so that you can't easily go and buy a cheap physical copy that was meant for like Canada or mid-Asia or something like that.
Gray market books.
It's so silly. This is like
It's
it's hard to talk about this without getting deep into politics here, but it's like, we're always like, oh, we should defend and protect our universities. They're the most important part of the future of America. And I'm like, yes, absolutely. Education and intelligence is the only way that we drag ourselves out of this dystopian hell that we find ourselves sliding into. However, the universities have become the embodiment of dystopia. And it's like, there's got to be a better alternative here, man. There's got to be a better solution.
It's mostly publishers.
It's the publishers trying to work around the first sale doctrine, because in the United States, once you've sold a book, what the person who has that book does, if they pass it on to somebody else and they pass it to somebody else, the publisher has no control over that.
I mean, the textbooks were highway robbery back in the 90s when I went to school. I mean,
they were just as bad when I went to the school in the early mid-aughts.
Yeah,
but they were books,
and in the 10s when I went to university.
But like the thing was is that like you had jerk teachers who were just like, yes, you need the newest version of the book, and then you had teachers, and I don't know if everybody had teachers like this, but I had teachers that were like, listen, go to the used bookstore and pick up revision 3. It'll be $5, and that's the book that we're going to use. There's no reason for anybody to go spend $200 on a big brand new book. Right? And we were like, thank you, teach. You're awesome.
And at the end of the semester, you could sell your books to the bookstore and get money back.
Quarter of the price.
Yeah. They were making money, but a used copy of the book was half of what it would cost new, and you'd only get a quarter back, but it was still a quarter back. It wasn't $100 license fee that at the end of the semester you got nothing. And
it just goes away.
I heard about a school where you have to buy a tablet that is locked into their book vendor, and all of your books on that tablet, and that tablet ceases to function once you're no longer a student.
Yep.
That should be illegal, man. Like, that should not be allowed. It's just
in a civilized country,
man.
Unfortunately, we still live in a capitalist hellscape.
It's just, man, it's just sad. It's like I hear young people talk about university and all the problems that they have with it, and all I can think of is just like, man, I'm glad that I went when I did, and I don't have to go now, because it just feels like every year it's worse than the previous year. But now I sound like a 40-year-old get off my lawn midlife crisis man. So take that for whatever it's worth.
I think one of the most insidious things that I dealt with in college was books with one-use access codes. I don't know if anyone else has experienced this.
I think my books had CDs in the back.
I had a programming textbook that came with a floppy disk, and the first time you ran it, it installed it on a computer, and it wrote to that floppy disk and made it so you could not install it on another computer.
Oh man!
Now,
it only takes somebody who knows how to use a copy of Xcopy on an Amiga to figure that one out.
Yeah, well, or disk copy, or I was using Linux at the time, so I just DB'd a copy of it to my hard drive before I installed it, and then rewrote it back to the floppy when I was done.
There's somebody in Twitch chat that mentioned the one-time activation codes. It's terrifying because you get this book and you cannot buy a used copy. You cannot buy a used copy because you cannot use that used copy.
Well, that was like was it Autodesk that was trying to put a license agreement in their hard copy books, software manuals, that said that first sale doctrine didn't apply, and they got slapped down in court hard.
Autodesk, that's
is-
another company that I feel is right up there with Adobe.
Autodesk can just walk into the sun. Yeah, the math textbooks that make you
I've never heard that
purchase walk into the sun.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm gonna steal that.
It's my favorite twist on in the Seattle we say walk into the sound. Take a long walk of short
I
pier
got
sort of thing.
Yeah, I always say
And
just,
it's like, no,
they
just
can go
walk into the
play in
sun.
traffic. My favorite is go play in traffic, but walk into the sun is a good one.
I've unfortunately been poisoned with listening to Walking on the Sun too many times.
Hey man, Smash Mouth is always a good choice.
Always.
I mean, it's either
Always
that
a good
or
choice.
it's like walking on sunshine.
Green on the way. Anyway.
I don't know. I can imagine Smash Mouth being a bad choice for a funeral.
Nah, man. I want, like, my buddy and I, when we were in high school, this is forever ago, but I still remember this.
Ladies is what you play at a funeral.
Yeah. I remember my buddy and I, we were like, at our funerals, when we die, we want it to be just extremely somber at first, right? And we want, you know, the to come out in all black and just, you know, oh, we're gathered here today to rock, and then like it's big flashy lights and like just rock and roll just blasting through. Yeah, we just want it to be like a complete subversion, you know, just like start with, you know, super somber and then just have it explode into the greatest show ever.
A friend
Okay,
of mine.
I was worried you were going to do the My Chemical Romance thing there.
Oh no. We were thinking like, you know, like Kiss, and you know, we liked classic
Hell
rock
yeah.
at that time. I mean, I still like
friend of
classic rock,
mine-
but
a late friend of mine wrote into his will that his funeral shall be accompanied only with orchestral covers of culturally relevant hip hop songs.
all right, I can get down with that.
And nobody was expecting to hear orchestral covers of the Marshall Mathers EP.
I've considered, you know, specifying that the music playing in the background should be Devo's Easy Listening Muzak, which is all Muzak versions of their songs. Just that's what people.
Oh my god.
All right, this is progressing okay. I'm not upset with how this is going.
No, once it's all back together, what do we do with it?
We slide it back into the rack, or I take some B-roll of it and then we slide it back into the rack.
No, you got to extend the serial port yet.
Yeah, that's the last thing we got to do after I wire up this 12-volt thing. I need some zip ties though. Yeah, essentially so I mentioned this in the video that is going up on Sunday, but my guess is that they had a different set of ROMs that they put into the VersaBus card, and those ROMs were specifically for like internal debugging or figuring, you know, testing or stress testing or whatever. And then when they shipped the thing, they put in the production ROMs, and you know, which have all of the serial debug stuff all stripped out of it. And so that's why they didn't need a plus minus 12 volt, but they have lugs for plus minus 12 volt that are wired up to the VersaBus card. You know, like I can see where plus and minus 12 actually has wire wrap wire to the correct plus and minus 12 on the VersaBus card. So that's the only thing that really makes sense to me, is that they had like a debug ROM on the production floor. And so all we're doing is permanently adding in serial, the debug serial functionality. Great. Now that I've zip tied it, I don't know which my black wires is which. One is ground, one is negative 12 volts, and I don't want to get those mixed up. But yeah, so I'm just adding back the serial functionality, and we've got Fleto. Fleto has a really nice ROM that actually works, and we can fire it up. We'll fire it up and test it. Which one of you is plus 12? V2 is plus 12.
Didn't Fleto mention that they found the factory or the self-test routines?
Yeah, he says that he found some self-test routines that could potentially be kind of good information for what like figuring out how to talk to the executive unit and the arithmetic unit.
Yeah, because they run like a basic self-test on the EU and the AU.
Yeah. And so if we could figure, if they're running a basic self-test on it, that means they're feeding instructions into it and whatnot, which is amazing news because it means that we can then potentially reverse engineer how to talk to those two things. E2 is plus 12. So this project went from like, 2 weeks ago, I was 100% convinced that it was dead. And now I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's not. Maybe we actually have a legitimate shot here. If we can talk to the VersaBus card, like, there's a chance that we can figure out how to talk to the EU and the AU, and then if we can do that, there's a chance that we can figure out how to feed them instructions.
I think our chances here are much better now than they were 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah, thanks to Fleto's ROM, but yeah, so you are ground, right? Let me double check this. Yeah, so this is like the first, I bought this thing like, 2 years ago or something like that, and this is like the first actual legitimate progress on it since then. And there's still a million chances for this to all go wrong and, never be usable. But we made progress where I thought we never would. So that shows that, like, okay, maybe we need to, maybe there is a chance here. Where's the Dumb and Dumber meme? So you're saying there's a chance, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think also one of the things that's stepped up recently, especially with the 980 project, has been the researching in libraries for just old copies of documentation information. And that's kind of started for this, but it's still in, early progress. You never know where we're going to find some documentation for this.
Yeah, and if we can, then that cracks open even more, right? But like for the last year, I've just been saying, like, we just need something, anything, like a crack in the door for us to claw at and scratch at. But there was just nothing. But I think this ROM now gives us the crack in the door that we were looking for. And the more I think about it, the more I convince myself that the executive unit populates the microcode into the arithmetic unit, and it's not the software that's feeding the microcode into the arithmetic unit. I mean, I have no way of proving this, and we've had no new information that should prove it one way or the other. It's just either a combination of wishful thinking and maybe a slightly better understanding of what's going on.
Well, and we do know that there's huge banks of proms on these.
So on the
So-
executive unit, yeah, the executive unit has 2K by 80, 80-bit wide proms for the microcode. So the executive unit stores the microcode in prom, but the arithmetic unit stores all the microcode in a 4K by 128 static RAM. So when you first power it on, there's no microcode at all in the thing. So something has to fill the arithmetic unit with microcode. And at first I was thinking it has to come from software. That's the only place that the microcode can come from. And if we don't have the FPS, XP32 software libraries, then there's no way that we'll ever get microcode into the arithmetic unit, and then we're hosed. But then I started thinking of, and the reason I thought like that is because that's how the BOMEM does it, right? The first thing that the BOMEM does is load a bunch of microcode from the from the hard drive into the HPVP. But I started thinking about it a little more in critically here, and I my guess is that the arithmetic unit is effectively just doing Fourier transforms, right? And so if you're doing a Fourier transform, or if you're doing something on like a large array, my thinking is that you've got a lot of repetitious instructions going on. So you need to do 66 additions and 33 multiplies. And then you need to take the result and copy it to these locations in memory. So the executive unit has, for this sake of this argument, the executive unit will have four microcode arithmetic unit microcode instructions stored in its microcode. So then the executive unit says, okay, I need to copy this singular instruction over 66 times. And then I need to copy this singular instruction over 33 times. And then I need to copy this singular instruction over once or whatever, right? So the executive unit doesn't have to store a huge amount. It just has to store a small amount of instructions and then copy those over multiple times to fill up the microcode on the arithmetic unit. Is my thinking? I could still be very wrong on that. But that's where my brain's at the moment.
Well, it is good that the test routines, in the VersaBus computer, if they're designed to run without any outside sources, that means it has to have at least a basic arithmetic library that's loaded into the AU to test
something. Yeah, exactly, right. So I think Fleto's disassembly of those routines is going to be vital to kind of understanding what's going on and whether we're boned or whether we're incredibly lucky. And so I mean, at the moment we're just lobbing out guesses because we legitimately have no clue. But the fact that we're finding more in the VersaBus code is incredible, I think. And because it's 68K, it's just all 68K code. There's it's actually possible for us to look at it and figure it out, as opposed to, this is what I was trying to explain. I'm not really getting the words out correctly today, but I was trying to explain this to Coley the other day as well. And I think that if we had, for example, if the only XP32 we had was Venus's 5105, if, for example, it had 2 XP32 boards in it, and that was all we had, but we didn't have any XP32 software, I think we would actually be in a worse place than we are with the FPS-3000, because the FPS-3000 has this 68K VersaBus SBC that actually is something that we can understand. And so we can exploit this 68K code, whereas on, if we didn't have the FPS-3000 and our control processor was an FPS-100 or an AP-120B, we would first of all have to understand how the FPS-100 and AP-120B communicate with the XP-32 via the whatever interface they have set up. So that's like a huge hurdle that you have to overcome first. And then, you know, we don't have something that is like well understood to disassemble from, like 68K. 68K is something that hundreds of thousands of people around the world are very familiar with and very good with.
So now on the topic of the I/O between the backplane and the FPS-100 and the XP-32 on the backplane, I suspect that the FPS-100 and AP-120B treat the XP-32 like an I/O processor. It would make sense. You already have the facility to move data around to your I/O processors, to your secondary I/O processors. And I imagine that they're doing that exactly the same way on the XP-32. We can prove that because Vinos's 5105 has a slot for the XP-32. So we can cross-reference the slot with what we understand of the I/O processors, and that may be enlightening. But I actually do think that's how the XP-32 is working, is that way.
I mean, it's a legitimate guess. But then, you know, do we understand how to fully use the I/O processor? Do we?
We have a manual for it.
And even if we do we know what the I/O processor is supposed to send the XP-32? Like, we have no image of what XP-32 instructions look like, right?
Right. So going through the VersaBus controller that has its own embedded everything you absolutely saved our bacon on getting XP-32 to work, because, or giving us a fighting chance.
Yeah. I think that I think this is our like single best hope for understanding XP-32 at the moment. I mean, you know, if Vinos has had an XP-32 board in it, you know, there's a strong chance that the host system had the XP-32 software, and so that would actually be our strongest best chance. But his didn't come with an XP-32 in it, so you know, even if we could convince the owner or the person who got the host system, you know, to dig through it and dump the contents of that, I think the likelihood of finding XP-32 software on it is very small.
I agree. I think it may still be worthwhile because that would be a complete FPS set.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely worthwhile.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any. I mean, I would be highly skeptical that there's XP-32 software on there. I think there's software worth getting on there, but it's not going to be XP-32 software.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, why would they include the whole XP-32 library if you didn't order it with it? Right.
That's true. I mean,
Just thought an example of that. I don't think we have the software for the PIOP.
We do.
That's true.
Have in Currington, who I've been in contact with, who used to program for the PIOP, but you know, he might say, I used the software suite that we had, and if you don't have that, I can't help you. So. Yeah, it's like this whole FPS journey is like a really difficult one.
It is,
and it's just like it's such an emotional roller coaster, because I go from this is the coolest thing ever and we're gonna be superheroes to like, screw my life, what am I doing? This is never gonna work. I'm an abject failure. I do that seesaw like 20 times a week, man. It's so stressful.
I'm with you. Even having the hardware and proving that we got it to do something, I'm like, until we got tools to develop with it, and like a better understanding of the DMA facilities and all the things that we're struggling with right now, it's
actually I mentioned
all these cool
you
things to learn and discover, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mentioned that in the video.
It really
actually
is.
Oh,
At the risk of sounding gauche, it's a bit of a mindset thing, and it really takes a lot of work to get yourself into that mindset of, I can do this, I can learn this, and it is something that I can discover, even if it's like completely reverse engineered. Like, reverse engineering is the worst because you've got to put yourself into the head of people that you never met, that you never know, that you have no idea what they were thinking when they built this. And now you've got to actually think like them.
Well, so like something that I keep trying to stress is that like I'm not scared of reverse engineering. I'm not scared of doing the legwork to like beeping out the entire card if we have to. But I mean, we did it on the Centurion. We've done it multiple times in different contexts. The thing is though is that like when we made the decision to do reverse engineering, we knew what the result of it would be. We knew that if we put in the hours here, we would get this result, and that's a result that we desire. Whereas on the FPS project, I'm like, if we put the hours in, I still don't know that we'll get anything useful out. So like we could easily drop 600 hours on this and end up in the exact same place where we are right now. And so I've been hesitant to be like, yeah, let's just reverse engineer the thing. Because, where'd you go? There it is. Okay, I dropped the screw. Because we could very easily spend a colossal amount of time running down a path that we just went, let's just do this because that seems like a good path. And when really what we need to be doing is applying a little more critical thinking and maybe sleuthing and tackling things that we know can put us in the correct direction and save the like big heavy legwork until we're positive that heavy legwork is going to pay off.
I mean, sure. I'll give an example. I'll give a counter example in the FPS project. I was scrolling through eBay about 3 months ago, and I found a lot of HP 21 MX cards for sale. They weren't cheap, but I was looking at it and I noticed the serial number sticker on one of the boards looked suspiciously FPS-like. And I was like, no, it's not FPS. No, it doesn't look right for FPS. And then, like, there was enough pause in my brain that I went back to the listing, and sure enough, the HP mini computer interface card was for sale on eBay. So I bought it. I bought the whole lot, which actually turned out to be a very useful thing for my systems. But one of the projects that I'm working on right now is trying to understand how we'd even interface an FPS 100 to or AP120B to the HP. So I'm reverse engineering the card. But the only reason I felt comfortable in reverse engineering the card and figured it was worthwhile is because we had a document showing that a version of the AP interface side cards is compatible with this card. I was able to figure out that we could use a 4219 with some jumpers we configured to actually interface with this 4256 HP interface card. If we don't have, I completely second that. Like, if we don't have an idea of how we're going to actually use the XP32, if we don't have an idea of how we're actually going to interface with it, then there's no point in, there really is no point in doing all the legwork. Now, one of the things that
it's not even as far as like, if we don't know how to use the XP32, it's even just like, if I have a schematic for the XP32 and that's it, what does that get us?
What does that get us?
Like, what do we learn from that? How does that help the project move forward? And the answer invariably is like, well, whenever I ask that question, I'm like, what does this get us? The answer is like, well, it would be nice to have. Like, I agree. It would be nice to have, but like, where does this take is this the next logical step to make? Right? Like, I feel like there's probably, if I'm going to spend 600 hours on something, there's probably different or better avenues to spend that 600 hours on.
Right. I agree. I do strongly advocate. I've been advocating this, and I don't know how you guys feel about it. That we do think about building a backplane tracer, and the reason that I suggest we think about that is because the at least partially, the IOP stuff is known.
See, this is where I disagree with you, because I don't think tracing out Vanos's backplane gains us much. Hang on, let me rephrase that. I don't think tracing it out this early in the game gains us anything.
Yes, I agree.
Ultimately, I think as much information as we can get, period, is good. But I think this early in the game, our primary focus should, for the FPS 100 project, the primary focus should be purely on software, right? Because so far the hardware has seemed moderately stable. Like, I don't think you've had to replace any bad ICs on the FPS boards yet.
Not yet. However, in the limited testing we've done, hey, go fetch a number from the table memory, go fetch 2 numbers from the table memory, add them together, and return them to the console on the Eclipse. We've noticed that there's 1 bit in those numbers that's not changing, and it should be, because it's in the Mantis, so it should be changing as we change the numbers around and add pi to E and do all this crazy stuff. So I suspect somewhere in the memory, or table memory or table RAM, or in the data path, there's a IC that's not passing a bit properly. But I'm waiting on a part shipment to have enough spares to be able to positively determine what board that fault is on, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to do that. So that's what I'm up against now.
See, live is black, right? For AC wiring?
Usually.
Okay.
Yes.
In the North American standard, yes, usually.
Yeah.
If you're ever worried that they may have changed the colors around on you or something like that, the way I always cheat is to go get a polarized line cord, plug it in, and then ohm out the fat pin to wherever, and make sure that it matches what it's supposed to be.
Well, no, so I've got the colors matched up correctly. So I've got, white to white, black to black coming off of the main power supply over there. But on the Meanwell, it just listed as L in. So I was trying to remember which color goes to L and which color goes to N.
Black to L.
Yeah.
I thought you were looking at somebody else's harness or something.
Nah, this is me trying not to make stupid mistakes.
The big reason why you would pay attention to it is if you also have a neutral to ground connection to make chassis ground and neutral, and I don't think we're in that situation.
No.
Yeah.
The primary power supply here has green, black, and white coming into it. So like the colors are the right colors and they're in the right places, but they don't list it as L, N, and G on here. They list it as 1, 2, and 3. So I needed to confirm, just double check that I was right in thinking that, live is black and neutral is white, so that I can match it up to the Meanwell.
All right. Well,
and Cully, we could try to make your FPS 100 multiply.
I think that is a great. I'm going to work on it a little bit on Sunday. I think I've got some obligations at the museum tomorrow, but I'm totally up to try that. I think that'd be really cool.
Actually, I in this Sunday's video, I mentioned the fact that it took us a year to get your machine to add 2 numbers together. And I use that as a counterpoint to like counterpoint as a point to drive home how dire the situation is with XP32, right? Because it's like for the FPS 100, we have a full set of schematics, a mountain of documentation, multiple people all around the world working together, and it still took us a year to get it to add 2 numbers together. So for the XP32, we have none of that. There's only one known surviving XP32, this one. There's 0 documentation, 0 software. Like we don't know anything. Like it just seems we're in a really rough spot with it.
I mean, the Eclipse adapter was nuts. We had but even with schematics, it was made by a crazy person.
I remember going into my basement, like getting home from work, going into my basement, getting on a call with Roy and Venus and whoever else joined up at the time, and there were many people who joined up at the time, and we would just spend like 4-hour calls beating our heads against the wall on that 4360 adapter, and eventually we just like poked it enough that it started to make sense. And there's like the 4448 in the FPS 100 and the 4360 in the Eclipse.
It's a problem.
And these two are like you can't really. I mean, we could run the 4448 independently with a custom adapter if we got really crazy. But like you have to set up registers in the 4360 to send stuff to the 4448, and it got like mind bending as to what bytes needed to go where. It didn't line up with the documentation we had. It was kind of crazy. So I totally hear you. Even with the schematics, it took a year.
The Eclipse adapter has microcode on it.
Yes, it does.
For running DMA.
Running DMA.
It's like, why?
Why do that? What the? Well, you know why it does that? It's so that it can do DMA really fast because it's the medical interface. It's not that is a custom medical interface, and it's not the normal Eclipse interface at all.
I mean, the crazy part is they're using the 4448 on the FPS-3000. Yeah.
Yes.
But like, I think it's important to note that the 4448, like the 4448.
Yeah.
It may have the same number, but they're wildly different. Like, go look at the 2 pictures that I posted side by side of the 010 revision and the 401 revision that I have. I've got both of these.
I'm sure the part numbers line up. Oh no, the lines are not even going the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, they look like just flat different cards. My only hope is that, like, you know, the fact that they're both 4448s means that they have the same or at least a similar card edge connector. But I don't see how that could even be possible, because some of the APIFs are going to be 32-bit, some of them are going to be 16-bit. So like they can't possibly have the same card edge connector because they're dealing with like wildly different bit widths.
They're always doing 16 for some reason.
That might not necessarily be true.
I'm fairly certain mine's doing 32-bit because it's got dual port RAM that is 4K and it has 8 of those, which adds up to 32.
So another thing that I did as part of part order round 2 was there are 3 data general BMC, so burst mode. So there's 3 different kinds of ways you can interact in DG land. There are 3 ways you can interact with an IO card. You can do normal programmed IO, which is slow. but really easy to implement. You can do DMA, which goes over the backplane, and you literally hand over the entire memory to the peripheral. Or you can do burst mode, which is it sends over bursts of data that the burst mode controller handles. So the burst mode controller works with the CPU and the memory to move blocks between memory and the peripheral. And there were 3 boards in the part stash from our supplier, labeled DG BMC adapter, and the part number lines up for the part numbers line up in the part number listing document that we have. So I went ahead and I placed an order for those. We'll see them next year probably.
Mary, man, I love you. You're fantastic, but you are not the definition of speed for sure.
No, Mary is a wonderful human being. And I do not want to be disparaging to Mary in the slightest. It just takes her a long time to reply to us. So,
that's an understatement.
So it's an understatement. I haven't heard from her in a month and a half, and I placed an order for several $1,000s in parts. So we'll see.
And if it were anybody else, like if we didn't have the known history of how that first sale from them went, I would be like panicking if you dropped $1,000 on something and like didn't hear back. But because we have that shared experience of the first time that happened, I was just like, oh yep, that's how it goes with Mary.
How it goes, Mary. I mean, I haven't spent any money yet, but I've placed the order. I'm waiting to hear back on shipping and total pricing, but I'm going to spend a lot of money with them, and I trust them, but I know it's going to take a while still. So I'm hoping, and this is a long shot, but I'm hoping that the BMC adapter might be enlightening depending on how the connectors on it are configured. Because your APIF cable coming out of the APIF, going to the bulkhead in the back of the chassis, and then there's the ribbon cable that's attached to that bulkhead. And on the other end of that bulkhead, it just has the 50 pin or whatever IEC connector. I've never seen a photo or a diagram or anything of the BMC adapter, so it's conceivable that the BMC adapter does not interact through the backplane and instead has that
wait, what do you mean
connector?
By BMC adapter? What is a BMC adapter?
It's the second generation or third generation of so like there's a 4360 adapter, and then there's a BMC, the burst mode controller adapter for the FPS systems. That's the third generation DG adapter that is faster because it can do the burst mode is a type of DMA in data general land.
In DG land.
Yeah.
Okay, you're using DG land stuff that I'm not up to speed on.
And it uses an over the front or out the front connector. So there's ribbon cable that comes out of the front of the card, which is unusual for data general. And it goes up.
But to what card in the FPS system would receive that?
The interface card. So there's another interface card that's undocumented as of right now. And it's the data general, the burst mode controller adapter for the FPS systems. So what I'm wondering is if the 3000 is compatible with this adapter, because this is ostensibly a much later adapter and potentially a upgrade path or some sort of like I don't even know. Like I don't know if it's the same, if it's identical to my 4360.
If you look in the if you look in the parts list that we have,
Yeah.
When you get to the FPS-3000 region of that parts list, they list a couple of adapters that are not reliant on the APIF, right? So like the APIF requires, if our understanding is still where it was a while ago, the APIF requires a card in the host system to talk to.
Correct.
So the APIFs are kind of like a universal thing, and then the card in the host system does all the like really hard work of getting to the host.
Correct.
But if you had a Unibus system, you had like a dedicated interface card that just plugged straight into the bus. Like the PDP-11IF goes straight to the Unibus, plugged straight in. And so if you look at the parts list, they list some extra adapters for specifically FPS-3000. And one of the ones they list is like a LSI-11 adapter and stuff like that. But it doesn't, I mean, by the time the XP32 was coming out, I genuinely think that Data General machines were a little, maybe not necessarily keeping up, or, you know, because we're talking like 86, 87 at this point in time, right? Like what did DG have in 86, 87 that would have been fast enough for them to stuff one of these guys onto?
Oh, they had at that point 86, 87. So even into the early 80s, they had the MV series, 32-bit series machines. I've got one. It's quick. Like they were actually a legitimate VAX competitor. Okay. They were fast. They were the same form factor as like the S140. And they had the burst mode, and you could support megabytes of RAM, and had a very powerful operating system. Actually, very decent machines. It didn't sell very well, but they were very decent. So, that would have absolutely been a good target for a 3000. They were very fast.
Yeah, at that point, maybe they did full 32-bit wide transfers.
Yeah, I mean, it would absolutely make sense. The BMC, so like the BMC on that machine can move 32-bit words. So the I/O backplane on that machine still 16-bit to be backwards compatible, but the burst mode controller can do 32 bits. So it's entirely conceivable that this BMC adapter that we've found is compatible with the later generation APIF and does 32-bit directly to the XP32 on the 3000. Maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, we have no dock on the later generation APIF. I mean,
correct.
I think the link between the APIF and the translation, the format translator, I think that's 32-bit. I'm not entirely sure.
I would be almost convinced that it's all 32-bit. That is 32-bit all the way through. That it talks 32-bit from the XP32 to the main memory, all the way out through the Versa bus.
Oh, no, it can't. It can't. It has to go to 16-bit. The Versa bus is only 16-bit wide.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So there's a 32 to 16 translation that happens at the Versa bus in both directions. Because the XP32 is the 32-bit IEEE, you know, whatever it is, right? But standard. And I'm pretty sure it's 32-bit coming in from the host system, because that's what the APIF kind of looks like. But the Versa bus itself does not have 32 bits of width to do anything with.
Interesting.
So it has to go to 16-bit. So my like working theory is that it's 32 bits of an unknown format, or you know, a floating point format that's not IEEE, because everybody and their dog had a different floating point format.
Correct. Yeah.
And so that floating point format comes in as 32 bits. The APIF drops it into dual port RAM, and then shovels it out 16 bits at a time onto the VersaBus, where the VersaBus SBC grabs it and then shovels it through the translator and then into the universal formatter. So the translator translates it from whatever the VersaBus is doing with it to what the XP32 bus is expecting. And then the formatter translates it from whatever the weird floating point format it came in as to the XP32 floating point format. And then the XP32 gets it.
So I actually disagree a little bit here. Maybe we're talking the same language and different terminology. But I suspect that all they're using the VersaBus single board computer for is just for it's like when we were doing the way we were interacting with the FPS 100 was like we were requesting its processor, its onboard P1, P2, P3. We were like, hey, could you move this data from the formatter to the, or not from the form? We weren't even touching the formatter. We were just going straight through the APIF, straight raw 38-bit word right into the memory, 64-bit word right in the memory. There was no translation. There was no at-speed translation to do that. So what I suspect the VersaBus system is doing is it's not capable of high-speed transfers between VersaBus and memory. So I suspect that it is just doing the like, oh, here we'll do the unit, the tests on the AU and the EU, and we'll set everything up. We'll load the microcode. We'll do all the stuff through the VersaBus single board computer as the control processor. And then when you send it, when you start feeding the XP32 actual data, I suspect it's going straight from the APIF to the formatter right into memory. I don't think
But if that's the case, why do you need a VersaBus translator card?
Well, I'd put it in the way that the same way the FPS 100 has the lights and the switch, which are 60 bits wide, just regular numbers, and that's how you interact with the machine when you're not going through DMA. So that part is like setting up the machine from zero.
Yes.
And the first thing you do with the lights and switch registers normally is to load a bootstrap to get data through DMA to get the whole program, because it's going to take forever to transfer everything through the switch registers. So, but they still have to do it in chunks of 32 bits because DMA, and the DMA is on 2 shots of 16 bits for some reason. It's like that's what the 4448 does. It's 16 bits wide. But it's like they could do it 32 bits wide. You just need twice the pins.
Yeah. So based on all of that, this is why I think that the VersaBus computer is set up there to do the control functions that the processor in the FPS 100 was doing. P1, P2, P3 in the FPS 100 do all the control coordination, the signal, the like, oh, this board needs to be active to do the multiplication. I really do suspect that they are using it to do the microcode loading and all of the testing and the like general interface stuff when the machine starts up. And it makes sense to do it that way. I mean, that's how they did it on the FPS 100, just with their own design.
I mean, somebody has to have the front panel lights.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, I think the way to put this to bed is to measure to see if the bus on the APIF goes straight to the formatter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a funny thing. It's like how the FPS 100 loads programs into its program store.
It's weird.
It requests stuff to go to the formatter and then asks the formatter to do nothing. And then it just reads off the input of the formatter straight into its program memory.
I know this is probably really hard to see on the Twitch stream here, but like the VersaBus card is on the very top here, and there's the whole left side of it is unrelated. The right side of it is just VersaBus, and there's a boatload of wires that go from the VersaBus to the VersaBus translator, and then out of the other side of the VersaBus translator, it goes friggin' everywhere. Yep. Like I'm seeing it go to APIF, to memory control, to maybe even to the XP32 directly.
Sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Now, obviously, the APIF is this guy right here. So there's a whole lot of connection between the APIF and the VersaBus translator, but you might be on point. I don't know if I'm seeing connection between the APIF and the VersaBus card itself.
I would be surprised if they were connected through anything but the VersaBus translator.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that still doesn't eliminate the possibility that APIF is going through the VersaBus to make it to the XP32. Because it could just be APIF into VersaBus translator, into the VersaBus, and then out of the VersaBus through the translator, the formatter, XP32. Like, there's nothing stopping it from doing that either.
There's nothing stopping it, but here's why I don't. Here's why I don't think so. On the FPS-5105, which has the facilities for the XP32, there is no VersaBus single board computer. The control processor for the entire thing is P1, P2, P3, just like on the FPS 100. So
yes, but they don't have the weird bus translation problems that you get with the VersaBus. So the fact that they have to do VersaBus translation may have changed how they do their communication with APIF.
I agree.
Because you got to think the VersaBus is the control processor, right? So if you're saying that on the FPS 100, the control processor is controlling what data is going to the APIF, what data is going to the thing, then the VersaBus has to do that same control as well.
Correct. Which is where the translator for the VersaBus comes in.
Yeah. Ultimately, it's all speculation. None of us has a goddamn clue what's going on.
Honestly, I really do hope that someday, and this day may never this day may come when we do it ourselves, but I really do hope that someday somebody hands us a pile of documentation and schematics that show the entire 3000. Because then that would be illuminating. If I get a a super detailed block diagram, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
To understand what's going on. And I think that as Venus gets into his 5105, and I know him. I'll talk to him at Midwest this year. I think he'll be at Midwest but later. I think as he gets into his 5105 and gets that up and running, and I think that thing's just going to come to life when he starts it up. That will also be enlightening as to how things move around in that system. So.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. We're gonna give this thing a test right quick.
Okay. All right.
You can go to sleep, man. It's getting pretty late.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna make it much farther.
Yeah, I'm still trying to find the bus between the APIF and the format translator on the 100.
Yeah, the thing is that even if you look at the block diagrams for the 120B and the 100, there's so many different buses going on and so much insane communication happening that it's almost impossible to explain it out loud. It's such a complex system.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've read through the entire opcodes for that thing, well, mnemonics, and Yeah, I discovered like yesterday that, oh, they can make a floating point out of a program space. Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's fun to know. Like, and they use it, and I think they use it in the FFT
Right.
routine to just load like cosine functions, like just a random float number. Great. It's like that's possible in the assembler. It's like somebody call Vino says there's extra things, man.
V2 is plus 12 volts. That is connected correctly. V3 is minus 12 volts.
Pretty sure I'll never learn all those mnemonics. There's
That is
like
connected
200
correctly.
of them.
Common is ground. That is connected correctly. Okay. There's a very strong likelihood that I've got my receive and transmit flip-flopped. But that's because it's RS-232. And that's like a prerequisite for RS-232.
RS-232 is the ancestor of USB. Guess why you have to plug it 3 times?
Yeah. All right. This makes serial communication fully integrated. So we don't have to like open it up. I don't have to pull it out, put it on the desk. I can leave it inside the cabinet. All we have to do is plug into the back of it and we can talk over serial to the machine. So that way, whenever Fleto goes, hey, can we test something right quick? I can just run out, flip some power switches, and we can test. That was the whole goal today. That's all plugged in correctly. Hopefully nothing goes up in super fancy smoke. Let's do a minicom-s. Serial port setup, 9600, 8 and 1. That is good. Okay. Primary power coming up. Let's check our RS-232 voltages. Make sure that we're not cramming the wrong thing. That's 11.6. That's enough. That's minus 11.9. That's good enough. All right, here goes nothing. 50-50 shot on RS-232 being correct here. Hey, RS-232 was correct. There we go. Look at that. FPS-3000 SBC monitor / debugger. Lives in 29.1 KB of free ROM. And then from here, I can do things like show the registers. I can view memory. So let's start at 0000 and dump 1024 bytes. Is that 1024 bytes? That feels way short than 1024, but maybe that is. 0002048. That's 2K. Should be twice as long. Nope. For some reason, that's all it dumps. And it's repeating, but I can change it. I can go to W. So I can do W 0000112233445566. And then do a dump from 000. We just do 8 bytes. And there's my 112233445566. So I can view and change things in memory. We can go to spots in memory and start executing. The live board status and diagnostics is a fun one. Shows that we've got 128K of RAM, 64K of ROM. No idea what WCS buffer mon work is, but there's the APIF memory addresses and the translator memory addresses. So it's like legitimately separate memory addresses to get to APIF or the translator.
Makes sense.
And then there's our SIO channel that we're on for serial. No idea what PTM is. Board status, sure, whatever that means. vmod control, monitor end, and then grep 0 nest txt fail or tx fail. But like here we are, we're talking to the VersaBus. Then now there's nothing really much more that we can do, but it proves that my wire wrap is working fine. My plus minus 12 volts is working fine. Yeah, we're like mostly functional. The front of it is just like yours, Coley. It says power and host interrupt enabled.
Yep, that makes sense.
That's all she wrote.
That would be fine. Is the moment you get that interrupt enabled to false, it's like.
Yeah, and you guys are going to back up for a second while I take a little bit of B-roll.
I mean, yeah, that would be interesting. It's like where that interrupt normally goes to the APIF. Huh.
All right.
I'm wondering if they just like plug the VersaBus to the internal peripheral bus. Like there's a lot of commands in FPS 100 to like speak to peripherals. Like, oh, I want to change the memory page. Oh, I want to change the DMA, and that's on like a peripheral 16-bit bus. It's like I wonder if the VersaBus is like acting like a second master to that, and just it has control over all the DMA lights and all the things. It's like, yeah, it would make sense, and it should be able to turn off that interrupt light. We just have to figure how.
Well,
that's not even touching. That's not even touching the XP32. It says the same thing inside the FPS 100. It's like we managed to turn off the interrupt light. Yeah, that's not even touching the processor. That's just the APIF.
Yeah, but this is where the fact that we can now communicate via serial makes a massive difference. Because instead of having to like write assembly programs, we can now just like write stuff in Python that hits the serial port.
Yeah. I mean, we had the big problem with the Eclipse that the adapter board is nuts, and we had to go through it.
Yeah.
And this one doesn't have it.
Yeah, well, if we had to go through the APIF, like we'd be boned because we don't know what the host system was. We have no idea what format the APIF is expecting. There's like we wouldn't stand a chance. But because it goes through serial now, but because I can talk to the VersaBus via serial now, like it's just USB dev TTY 0 or whatever, right? So
yeah.
Like now any Linux guru can write a piece of software that says these are the memory addresses. Let's pick one, feed it a byte starting at 0 and ending at FFFF or whatever, or 00 and ending at FF. Just feed it a byte and look at what it spits back, and then just do that iterate over and over and over again. And then ones that we go, oh, this was interesting, things happen here, and then we iterate on that one, and then iterate on that one. But all the iteration can now happen automatically.
Yeah. At the same time, it's like I'm pretty sure like till we get a bit more information, XP32 is still a lot of reverse engineering or documentation away, but I'm pretty sure we can turn off that light on the front panel.
Yeah, but I mean, like but here's this is what we were talking about earlier, where it was like I'm not afraid of the reverse engineering, but I'm afraid of like reverse engineering futilely. Futilely, I don't know how you want to pronounce that, but if we go, hey, we're going through, we're programmatically testing this, pushing things into here. When we're on the XP32 thing, we see that things operate a little strange in this particular instance. So let's drill down on that, which requires a little more reverse engineering on how the WATEC chips are connected to the bus or whatever, right? It's like, all right, let's sit down and buzz out where the WATEC chip goes,
Yeah, they could be pretty straight on connected to that arithmetic unit program space. It's like, why change it? Why modify it? You just plug the chips in.
Yeah, but the thing is like with the ability to talk to it now, we can like iterate, then make a decision, then iterate, then make a decision. Whereas before it was just like, I don't know, your guess is as good as mine.
Right. I hope that's not stuck between. I hope the AU is not gated behind knowledge of the executive unit.
Me too. All right, John.
But the executive unit
and others
is actually less terrifying because we can rip the microcode off of it.
True. All right, I'm turning in. I'm going to bed. Getting pretty tired here.
Take it easy.
Take it, Tim. Take it easy.
Good night, Collie.
Night.
Like this is, I feel like we've taken like a legitimate first step for the.
Oh yeah.
Like I mean, for the first time,
It's solidifying in my head. It's like, we definitely will have control over the APIF. That's like going to be easy. We essentially took the step that on Cully's machine required reverse engineering the entire adapter board.
Yeah, and because we're like, oh, hey, I got an extra screw.
Oh,
wonder where that goes.
Our supply.
Probably.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I mean,
we got an extra screw.
The adapter board was nuts, and we were just trying to get to the lights register, and I think that's going to be a given. How the Versabus talks to the machine makes so much sense.
Like in some instances, this might be easier than working on the FPS 100, even though we're missing a ton of documentation. In other instances, I think it's going to be like way more difficult than working on the FPS 100.
Yeah,
but
and it's like I don't expect this thing to be adding to numbers for a while.
No, but
yeah,
the ability for other people, Fleto, most likely Fleto, to write a script that says, that does stuff for us, and then just go, run this script, see what happens, the result of it will be stored in a text file on your computer. And so I can just like run the script, copy the text file, drop it in. And so what this does is it allows us to iterate much faster, because even though I'm the only one with the machine, the important stuff is all happening over serial. So like we can go back and forth and iterate really quickly that way. As opposed to like Coley's system, where it was like, try this, and then you had to, you got to wait for Coley to actually do it, which is something that I'm quite familiar with. That's how we work on like Centurion stuff.
I mean, at the same time, it's like, we had to be compiling stuff for the Eclipse, running it through serial, and then just trying that code. It's like, does it do something? It's like, it took forever. Yeah.
These are mine. We stay in here.
I mean, it was
Yeah,
crazy
this
when we
is
finally got something that was all Fs, and we were only like part way through the adapter at that point.
I mean,
Crazy.
I legitimately think that being able to hit, like, I legitimately think that the fact that this is a VersaBus FPS-3000 and not an FPS-5000 series means that we can actually reverse engineer the XP32 to the point where we can send instructions to it. I don't think it would be all that possible on the FPS-5000 because, like, okay, it has to go through I/O. Now we have to figure out how to talk to the I/O correctly. Now, you know.
You still have one big challenge, and it's one you share with Cully. You might need an extender board.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, like, designing and ordering an extender board is going to be a lot less terrifying than designing and ordering a friggin' backplane.
True. That's like what, 10x plus? No, not even 10x. 100x less.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I think an extender board will probably cost me $300 as opposed to $1,000.
Yeah. But you need a way to get, like, I was thinking, so, oh, you could just ask the serial control to put something specific and as the program code.
Yeah.
And then you look at the ALU directly with an oscilloscope probe and just go, oh, that was that register. It's like, yeah, but you need access to the board.
Yeah. Yeah. But well, that gets tough with the XP32 actually because the two boards are tied to each other.
Oh, that's even worse. Great.
Yeah.
We're going to be budge wiring the hell out of it.
Yeah, that might be what ends up happening.
Yeah, great.
Fly wires soldered to it. But I mean, let's not overlook the fact that we're talking to the dang thing. That's just, that blows my mind, man.
I mean, yeah, we're talking to the control processor. And like the crazy part is, even if you were like to shove that XP32 inside Cully's machine, we would be needing to use the FPS 100 to poke at it.
Yeah, and you guys are barely able to poke the FPS 100 at the moment.
Well, I mean, the biggest problem I have right now is I have to hand compile every test code.
Yeah, and so this is what I was saying, like, because now with the FPS-3000 you can just write Python code.
Yeah, I mean,
or
at the
whatever.
same time, it's like
bash scripts. It doesn't matter. Whatever works.
I wouldn't be impressed. It would be hard for a lot of programs to get something out of a 100 FPS 100, even with full access to its lights and like front panel registers, because you need to execute an add twice correctly and then read the right place to even get the answer, and that's if you put something in it correctly. And memories are off by 3 cycles, which is fun. It's like, so like, it's a huge juggling world just to get stuff into the ALU and to get something out of it.
I gotta take a picture of the VersaBus card, which means I gotta figure out a way to stand that thing up.
Adding 2 numbers took like 10 lines of code.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
How am I gonna stand that thing up? Something big and heavy behind it that I can lean it against, maybe? Mineral spirits might do it. I might have enough weight. We'll see. Yeah, I think I can do it with this. All right. Let's pull this here. Let's pop this out.
Oh yeah, did you get the photos of the backside? Of
Oh,
the
no, I
board?
hadn't done that yet. Do that right now. Thank you for reminding me.
Like I was thinking, it's like, oh, you're taking pictures of the board. It's like, oh yeah, the Fleto asked.
No, this is actually for the thumbnail.
So, so yeah, Fleto wants the reverse thumbnail.
That's a bad joke.
The whole box is the FPS-3000, right?
Yes, that's correct.
That's correct. What is there a processor card in it? A specific processor?
Yeah, so that's
Fleto
that's
3?
that's the XP32 that we keep talking about. And it's two cards that are connected via 4 ribbon cables. I think I'm probably going to have to stand on some chairs here.
Yeah, even the FPS 100, just like, what's the CPU? It's like everything.
Yeah,
It's like
that's a lot of glare.
there's a separate ALU just for a pocket calculator for the main processor, because somebody needs to add up the address. It's like, and that's not floating point.
Let's go. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out how to do this without having wicked amounts of glare. Keep them just a little further there. Well, it's just going to be a little bright in places. Oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah, I did know that. The formatter, the universal formatter, and the universal formatter and the VersaBus translator are connected via 2 ribbon cables.
Right, the formatter and the what are connected with?
The formatter and the translator.
Okay.
They're physically connected to each other via ribbon cables.
Oh, so that's why there's no wire wrap.
Yeah. Yeah, that would explain why there's no wire wrap on the backside of those. All right.
Like, oh, you put a connector on that one. I think it's like the FPS 100 is like 113 schematics, sheets or something. It's like something nuts.
Yeah. I apologize, Fleto. These are not going to be the best pictures on the planet, but it'll get you started.
Yeah, there's probably a lot that's going through that translator.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything goes through the translator, but you guys disagree with me on how things move through the system. So
I don't think everything goes through the VersaBus single board computer for a lot of things.
If it's going into or out of the system, I think if it's going into or out of the system, it goes via the VersaBus. Like if it's coming from the host into the XP32, it goes via the VersaBus. If it's coming from the XP32 to the host, it goes via the VersaBus. Although I don't think the XP32 isn't sending it to the host. The XP32 just says job done, and then the VersaBus single board computer grabs the value out of memory and shovels it over to the APIF. But I think
it connects possibly the APIF through the VersaBus translator to the rest of the system, but I don't think the value goes through the single board computer. It just gets DMA'd through to the host system.
Yeah, that's where I disagree with you. But the fun part is that I can't prove you wrong and you can't prove me wrong.
True.
It's Schrodinger's bullshit
at the
computer.
Same time, at the same time, it's like the FPS-100. The translator, the format translator, doesn't even appear when you're trying to use the front panels. You're always working with the 16 bits and just controlling. But when you start using DMA, you're going through the on-the-fly translator, because it's expecting the values that are on the host machine to stay in their units.
So here, I'll show this to you here in a second, Bob. But you were asking what the CPU on this thing looks like. That's the two boards that I've currently got out. So after I get this second picture here, I'll carry them up to the camera there. And
yeah, there's like so many bit slice processor on that card.
Yeah, so it's got here we go. I'll actually pull up a chair for this. So the audio on Discord is going to be about 20 seconds faster than the audio on Twitch, which means that the video on Twitch is going to be delayed off of what you see if you're listening on Discord. But the XP32 is built up of two boards. This is one of them. This is the executive board. It has two AM29116 bit slice ALUs. All of the microcode proms are right over here, we believe. There's a whole lot more proms like spread about that we don't really know what they do. There's a lot of register files and other stuff going on this one. And the AM29010 down here, I think, is the sequencer for the microcode proms and the 29116. So like that kind of makes up the CPU of the executive unit. Now the executive unit, my current thinking is that the executive unit fills the arithmetic unit with microcode and then tells the arithmetic unit to get going. And the arithmetic unit runs off and does its own thing. And while the arithmetic unit is running and doing its own thing, the executive unit can go do something else while it's waiting on the arithmetic unit. So they're kind of like separate computers, but I don't think the arithmetic unit can kick off without the executive unit telling it what to do. The arithmetic unit is this one here, which is connected via 4 ribbon cables. And this one has, it's like predominantly static RAM. Like this bottom corner here is all static RAM. All of this up here is static RAM. But you've got a whole lot of proms here, and I'm not sure what these proms are doing. But in between them, you've got two Waytech WTL 1032s and a WTL 1033, or that might be vice versa. But these are essentially two hardware adders and a hardware multiplier. And then over here, you've got an AM 2954 or 540, I think. Yeah, 29540. This is an FFT sequencer chip. So you've got your two adds and a multiply plus an FFT sequencer. So this entire thing is just like pretty much dedicated to doing wicked fast FFTs. And so that is the XP32 processor that we've been moaning about. Everything else in there is pretty much in support of this. You have a megaword of memory, which could be expanded out way beyond that. I've got like 4 memory slots, but only one is filled with a card. And that's a shared common memory. So the XP32 can access that memory, or the host system can access that memory via the VersaBus computer or the bus itself. We're still in disagreement on that. Then you obviously have a memory controller for that card. There's the VersaBus and the VersaBus translator. So like the VersaBus SBC is kind of what they call the control processor for it. And it's just kind of like the arbiter of data between the XP32 and the host system. And then that's it. There's not really anything else in there. There's an arithmetic processor interface, the IF card. But if Vanos's FPS-5105, which is just a late model FPS-100, if it does actually have 2 slots for an XP32, we could, I think, take these 2 boards and plug them into his 5105 and have essentially an FPS 5200 or whatever it is. We could upgrade it. But still exact same problem in that even if these were plugged into there, we don't have any of the software, so we have no idea how to interact with the XP32. And that's where I think the VersaBus is going to help us, especially if the ROMs that Fleto is currently digging through have like diagnostics and stuff like that on them.
I'm sure you've seen this since he mentioned your name in here, but this fellow on GitHub named Fleto2.
That's the same guy. That's the same guy. That's Fleto 666. That's the guy we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's the one that wrote the ROM monitor that we were just running.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, same dude. It just is a slightly different name on GitHub. But yeah, his work. Fleto is a wizard with 68K. And so his work with 68K is pretty much what is going to make this a viable possible project. Otherwise, I think we like, I'm certainly not good enough at 68K assembly to have done what he did. All right. And there's my main data card, which I'm pretty sure this main data card is actually compatible with FPS-100 stuff. I don't think there's anything special. I don't think there's anything FPS-3000 specific about it.
Yeah, because it would be the main data card for an FPS-100 if the XP32 wasn't in FPS-100. It's the main data.
Yeah, yeah, and the part number on it is a 4400 series. So like all the XP32 specific stuff is 4800 series. So this is a 4456, but like you get up into the XP32s and those are like 48 something.
I mean, yeah, in the FPS-100, there's like one random card that, or a couple random cards that are like 42 series instead.
Yeah, that's all AP120B era stuff.
Yeah, but he still reused it, so like you get a random lowball number in there. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, so this one has two 4400 series cards, the APIF and the memory card. The memory control card, I think, is that's also a 4400 series. So that's a 4498 for the memory control. But then the XP32 is a 4805, 4806, the APIF 4448. So the formatter is a 4804. The VersaBus translator is 4803, and the VersaBus itself is 4808. So I've got like, you can tell which stuff is XP32 specific. This is all new. All right. And so now we wait until Fletto has a script or something that he would like to test.
Yeah, and I hope I get someday to multiply on Cully's machine.
Yeah.
Because I managed, there was an error, like a 3-line error inside of a vibe-coded simulator for the FPS 100. It's like, and another AI figured it out from the Fortran source, and then it multiplied. There's literally nobody that knows that microcode right now except me, I think.
Yeah. Well, nobody's
like
had to look at it in 40 years.
Yeah, maybe Venos, because he's trying to make a compiler for it. But
all right,
darn,
now
just
comes...
yeah, multiplying and adding are not easy.
Now comes the hardest part.
Moving it.
Getting it back into the jank rails.
Oh, yeah.
The rails on this thing are so janky.
It's not moving it, it's inserting it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I think the 120B would be taking up the space of your disk drive.
Yeah, so that was a thought. Was, you know, instead of running down the FPS 100 path, trying to talk Cully out of the AP 120B backplane that he's got, and then putting an AP 120B in here. But I think the AP 120B would take all the way up to the 1144 here, and then there's no space for storage in there, and I have to go to another rack. So it's just like, I don't think it's going to fit.
Yeah, I think they're that size. They're nuts. There's so many cards in there.
Yeah, I mean, I got up close and personal with Dave McGuire's up at the Large Scale Systems Museum, and it is big. I'm gonna try and do this differently.
I'm pretty sure what I'm writing for the FPS 100 would work with that machine.
Let's pull you off. Pull you off. Pull you off. Yeah, my hope is that we make enough valiant progress with this thing that I can give up on the FPS 100 backplane.
Yeah. I'm sure Cully's going to be the one that's going to have to bite the bullet and make it.
And why would Cully need to make a new backplane?
I'm sure he has enough parts to make, what, 3 FPS 100s? I don't know.
Oh, well, yeah. He's got enough parts to make a AP 120B, I think.
Yeah. He has a backplane for that, which is the advantage. But I'm pretty sure he wants to put FPS 100 in multiple things.
Yeah, well, yeah. This is a conversation
in
that
5
we had.
years.
I mean, he wants to do the HP setup that he was talking about, right? So he wants to get
Yeah.
an FPS or an AP 120B hooked up to the HP Mini. And then obviously, you know, he's got the Nova or the Eclipse or whatever it is that he's using for the other FPS 100. And then I think that was all that he was planning on doing, but I don't actually know for sure. Like I told him today, I was talking to him, we were talking about projects, and I was like, I'm gonna be honest, man, like I have no idea what the difference between all of your Nova projects are. Like I don't even know which Nova is getting the FPS stuff. Like they're just all blurred together to me.
I think it's a 144 that has the FPS stuff in it.
Yeah, but he's got like a Nova 2, a Nova 3, a Nova 4. He's got an S140. I was like, it's a lot, man. And I was like, you've got a lot of the same kind of projects going on, and that would be like, that's overwhelming for me. Like my brain, my brain can't handle that. Like my brain can't handle, like the FPS 100 and the XP32 are such similar projects that I don't want to do both of them. Like I would never want to, like, I got to focus on one, you know? I don't even like that I've got two PDP-11s in this room because they overlap and overwhelm my brain. But thankfully the 1173 has been stable enough that I haven't had to really treat the PDP-11 as a project. I just treat the BOMIM as a project. So it's like, but if I had a Nova 1200, a Nova 2, a Nova 3, and a Nova 4, like I would never be able to keep it straight what needs what's broken on what.
Yeah, I was thinking, it's like, why would he need an FPS 100? It's like, oh, he probably wants to put one in a PDP also.
Well, he doesn't have a PDP-11 interface card, so he would have to build that from scratch. The only PDP-11 interface card that we know of is the one in my collection here.
True. At the same time, I think yesterday I went like, hey, we could probably write some modern things to connect to the 4448, because it's probably at its simplest there. It's like it's not simpler near the Eclipse, because that's a weird thing. Like the adapter is nuts because the Eclipse is nuts. Like the 4448 is like sensible. It's like, hey, we could put a Pi Pico and maybe just drive it straight.
Yeah.
But I mean, that wouldn't fit with your channel.
No, no.
Yeah,
and you know that's a bit of a difference between Coley and I as well. Is that like, you know, Coley can just sit down and work on something. I have to think of a narrative for whatever it is that I'm working on.
And that's part of the problem of having multiple things called PDP-11.
I told Coley that as well. I was like, you know, a lot of people get very confused about just the two different PDP-11s that I have. I was like, there's a ton of people that have come into the Discord and been like, I'm so excited to see you get the BOMIM running on the PDP-1144 with the FPS 120B. And I'm like, all of that you said was wrong, you know? Like, but, you know, I'm not trying to blame them. Like it's confusing. It's an 1144 and an 1173. They're both PDP-11s. To most people, the distinction between Unibus and QBus is nothing. And the BOMIM has a vector processor on it, and the FPS 100 is a vector processor. And then the FPS naming scheme is also a disaster piece. You've got the FPS 100, the AP 120B, the FPS-3000, the FPS-5000, which is actually an FPS 100. So like I can't blame them. It's an incredibly confusing setup. But I was like, if my average viewer is struggling to keep a PDP 1173 and an 1144 separate, like my average viewer doesn't have a hope of keeping a Nova 2, a Nova 3, a Nova 4, an S140 Eclipse all separate, each with different vector processors attached to them. So I was like, that's why I have no idea what's going on with your FPS setup, Coley. It's like it's all blurred into one big mess in my brain. But that's just like my brain works differently than his, and I have to look at everything through the lens of how can I make a compelling 30-minute episode about whatever it is that we're working on. Which is why there's some projects that are better suited for Discord here or for Twitch here, because I think putting the plus minus 12 volt in the FPS-3000 is not a fun episode.
Yeah, because if it's confusing for the viewer, you have to spend time in the video explaining that thing instead of doing something with the project.
Yeah.
So everybody else is going, go on with it, just do the thing.
Yeah, and actually, like this week's video
People are not there.
is a massive rehash of the video from 6 months ago, because it's been 6 months since I talked about the FPS project. And so a lot of the things that I cover in this week's video, I already covered in the video from 6 months ago. But I can't go, hey, we made some really amazing progress on the FPS-3000. Go watch this video from 6 months ago, or else you won't understand anything of this video. That just means that nobody will watch this video. So I had to rehash the entire story.
It's like, watch this docu-series of like how many episodes to get to enjoy this one. It's like,
yeah, well, and with the Centurion, we eventually got to the point where we were just like, man, like if you don't know what's going on with, like, if this is your first Centurion episode, that's like saying that Avengers Endgame is your first MCU movie, right? Like, you picked a bad one to come in on, man. I'm sorry. So it's you eventually hit a point, but this episode I thought it was important to rehash it, because like the steps that Fleto was able to take, it's important to understand the history and the difficulty of the XP32 and where we are with it, in order to understand why it's so amazing that the Fleto monitor is what it is. Otherwise, I would just go, hey, look at this really cool monitor that Fleto made, and everybody would go, yeah, it's a memory monitor, so what? And it's like, no, it's not so what. It's like, it's insane. Take it easy, Telenock.
Yeah, it's a memory monitor. What is it monitoring the memory of? A 68K. Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like it's for all intents and purposes, it's like a 68K single board computer that is really not that fancy. But the fact that it's not that fancy is really important here, because everything else is fancy and exotic and difficult, and this is our window into that. And without explaining this whole, like, first of all, what is FPS's lineup like? So I talk about like the AP120B for a little bit, the FPS-100, the XP32, to introduce the concept of the XP32. And then I really drill down on the fact that, like, even with multiple people and a boatload of resources and full schematics, it took you guys a year to add two numbers together. And I think I say it'll probably take another year, maybe two, before it does its first Fourier transform. And that's with all of the resources, right? And so here we are with the XP32 with zero resources. Like, what hope do we have?
Yeah, the problem with Fourier transforms is I don't have the maths for that. I'm the only one that can read the code.
Yeah. That's the thing, is like, you have to look, we have to look through the minimal Fourier transform code that we have now, which is macro 11 code, and try to figure out how to rebuild a Fourier transform from that.
The Fourier transform library is in the B part of the basic math, which the FPS called. It's like you call
so
call
the
it floating point.
the
Basic
FFT.
math.
So the FFT macro 11 code just calls the math library to pull out the actual specific FFT code, huh?
There's like Fortran, like they're always talking about, oh, you can call it directly through the Fortran like access. It's like great, but it's not complete. But we have the sources that are in APAL, in AP assembly language, of the exact things being put inside of the, like, what essentially you have to put as microcode to do a FFT. So it's like great.
So Dave, I was wondering, in the end, what is the FPS 3000 for? What's the
FFTs.
ultimate goal for it?
FFTs is what it's really good. Fast Fourier transforms. So, as I understand, like floating point systems kind of history here was that they started with just vector processing or array processing, whichever math term you want to use. Kind of in general, they kind of tried to create a general purpose computer that could do this like complex vector processing. And my guess is that as they went through their evolution of building this general purpose vector processor, they discovered that pretty much every one of their customers was just doing FFTs. And so when they got to the XP32, they said, yeah, let's make it capable of doing other stuff, but let's hyper focus it on FFTs and make it the best FFT machine out there. And so they really drilled down on making the XP32 optimized for Fourier transforms. And if you're doing a Fourier transform, you're like, there's tons of fields out there. So medical was a big one, medical imaging. So CT scans require a lot of Fourier transforms to reconstruct the image. Geology, which is just a CT scan of Mother Earth. And then there was another big one that I wanted to say. I mean, obviously the BOMIM does a bunch of FFTs with spectroscopy, but
actually, I just remembered something that you might mention for fun. Do you remember the original SETI at home?
Yeah.
The big work that they were outsourcing to everybody else's PCs was FFTs of the received spectrum.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That is fun.
I spent a few cycles on that.
I used to go through my university with a USB stick and install it on all the computers in the library. And of course, it would get wiped as soon as they shut them down at the night because it would like revert back to a known state. But we would get like a solid, 6 or 8 hours of work out of them, out of like 10 computers. Because I would just like act like I'm going in and sitting down, and then I would just sneakily slip the USB stick in and get some SETI at home stuff going on. That was probably a massive. That'd probably give me in a ton of trouble, but
I did something way worse when back when we ran the computer school. When a classroom was not scheduled for a given day, I had an Altiris image that was just Windows and the SETI at home client, and I would flash that whole room. And then if anybody asked about it, I would tell them it was a hardware reliability diagnostic to identify any machines that were failing. That way they didn't fail during class.
You're not entirely wrong. I mean, SETI at home is a hardware. It does stress test the hardware.
Yeah.
Yeah, but back then I didn't understand how much it would also stress test our power bill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They'll definitely do that. That might be fun to find like an old copy of SETI at home and figure out how to port it to FPS 100 stuff. That'd be interesting.
At least we'd have a good data set.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is like, I don't know what I would do with the XP32 at the moment. Or an FPS 100. Like, this is back to the same conversation. I think we had this exact same conversation last week, which was like, if it's the BOMIM, there's a vector processor on that. And like, that thing is a wicked, gnarly, fast vector processor. And absolutely nobody cares. Like, nobody's excited about the BOMIM vector processor. Hell, I've got 2 of them hanging on the wall above my head here. Nobody asks about them. Nobody's excited about the concept of vector processing. So the actual idea of vector processing is something that the average YouTube viewer and the average computer enthusiast could care less about. It's more about the result of that vector processing. So like, if I was using a vector processor to make 3D graphics on hardware from 1985, that would be exciting. And in my eyes, using the BOMIM high performance vector processor to do spectra analysis from the, from the Michelson interferometer thing that they got going on there, I think is incredibly exciting. The vector processing itself is not that exciting. I mean, multiple times in the video, it says, calculating FFT for 10 seconds, and then it's done, right? Like, that was wicked hardcore vector processing, but the result is what's exciting there. And so while the HPVP for the BOMIM has like an actual use case, the FPS 100 and XP32 don't at the moment.
It's a bit like the FFT itself. It's like, who's going to be enthused about those letters? It's like, okay, you did an FFT like every other FFT that's out there. It's like,
well,
great.
So
what did it do?
This is the fun part.
Took thing and it did something else with it. That's interesting. It's like,
yeah. So miraculously, Veritasium was able to make a video on FFTs popular. So if I do, let me see here, FFT, I think it was. I'm curious how many views it got. But the important thing is like what he, so his video on FFTs, Jesus, shut up, making me watch ads. Oh my Lord. The thumbnail of it doesn't say FFT anywhere in it. And the title says the most underrated algorithm, right? And then that video gets 10 million views, right? And so the trick was that he, he's talking about FFTs, but he clickbaited you into not knowing that.
I'm pretty sure he's talking of a lot of application in that video also.
Yeah, he does.
So
he talks.
It's like, look at the rating on that one and then compare it to maybe, I don't know, probably there's one from three blue, one brown. It's like, great.
Yeah, so
I now know how FFTs work, and I have, I know how FFTs work. I'm pretty sure he puts examples also in his video.
He does, but he's putting examples in in a very broad sense, right? It's like, it's like saying an FFT is important for the CT scanners. Like, CT scanners doing image reconstruction have to do an FFT. And it's like, okay, but how? And you're like, if I want to explain how a CT scanner uses the FFT to reconstruct an image, that's a separate 4-hour video, right?
It's like, at the same time, it's like somebody in Discord is like, turn the FPS-3000 into a GPU, and technically, like you showed images, it's like, that's XP32, right?
Yeah, and so that's what In Currington was doing. He's really big into like 3D graphics, and so that was kind of one of the things that he wanted to demonstrate with the XP32. And so it's good at it. The XP32 is good at doing that type of stuff. but I don't have the programming chops to do that, and we certainly don't have the programming software to do that.
No, we just need his software so we figure it out.
Yeah, but like even if we had, like even if the vintage computing Santa Claus showed up, like right now, walked in and set a complete, fully functional FPS 100 in my lap with all the documents and all the software. Like, let's say vintage computing Santa Claus did that. Boom, I've got a full FPS 100. I've got all of the software suite, full and complete for RSX 11. I still don't know what the application for the FPS 100 would be. I want to get the OJ spectroscope hooked up to the 1144, but there's no reason to have a vector processor for that. Like, it's just an ADC is all I really need. And then I'm just making comma separated values because I don't need to do, for the BOMEM, I have to look at a complex signal and extract all the individual waveforms that make that signal. But for the spectroscope, I don't need to do that. I'm just looking at the amount of energy at specific electron volt levels, you know? And so it's I mean, I don't have a good application for this.
It was done with a hardware tracers. Like, you don't need hard math for that.
Yeah, they did it with an XY plotter.
Yeah.
So what was your most highly rated video? What was the one that got the most views?
That would be the Bendix G15 Doom video. Shortly behind it is the Bendix G15 Christmas music video. So hang on, I'll tell you how much those got here in a second.
Hey, y'all know who else sank a bunch of time and money into learning nobody gives a crap about vector processing, right?
Oh, I'm on the wrong account.
Who?
Sony with the PlayStation 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Bob. So to answer your question, I was wrong. So the Christmas music on the G15 video is the closest thing to viral that I've got, and that's at 456,000 views. The Doom on the G15 video is very close behind it at 442,000 views. Then there's a big drop down to the Finch Drive video on the Centurion that has 292,000. And then we're back into the G15 at 280,000. And then it's the Magnavox Concert Grand Console Stereo at 242,000. And then the first video that I did on CPL for the Centurion at 223,000. That's kind of my top 6 or 8 videos right there. 3 of them are the G15. Like the G15 series really popped off.
See, I think probably, like, you know, if you're looking for gold mine in terms of getting views, probably like the project you plan to do with restoring the G15's drum, or with making heads, getting heads and fixing crashed heads. Those type of things, I mean, I find them fascinating. And I think a lot of people who are into any kind of hardware find them fascinating.
So there's I think, and I was talking to Mike about this the other day. So the BOMEM series is one that I'm like incredibly interested in. I'm super excited about it, and I love working on it. But as a whole, that series has tanked. I'm happy if one of those videos cracks 40,000 views. So like the BOMEM series is doing very terribly. But I think that's gonna change once I stop working on the BOMEM and start using it as a tool for something else. So there's a couple of videos that I really want to do with the BOMEM. One is I want to squeeze out the goo out of capacitors from different manufacturers over the years, and run them through the BOMIM to get different spectrum from them and see how the goo changes from year to year and from manufacturer to manufacturer. And this is kind of going back towards that. I need to build a database of like known spectra, so I can be like, yeah, this is an OH band, and this is, you know, whatever. So that way I can actually look at the spectrum of capacitor goo and be like, yeah, we're looking at these materials that make up this capacitor goo. But I think that video will perform quite well because it's not about the BOMIM, it's about capacitors and the goo that's inside of them that leaks out and smells like fish and we all hate. And that's something that a massive audience can identify with. And another one that I want to do is I want to take a look at the binders in magnetic tape, because sticky shed syndrome is like a legitimate problem. And there's even some like mag tape out there that like the magnetic material is just like falling off of. And so I talked a bit with Mike about like how we would do that in the BOMIM, and he's got a great idea. He's, you know, we can do either, you know, the first thing that we do is we strip the magnetic material off of it. We take a spectrum of just the mylar. So that way we know, like, we can use that to subtract away from everything else. And then he's got this really cool attachment that he hooked me up with. This is amazing. This is a total internal reflectance. I think that's right. It's getting late, so my words are probably wrong here. But essentially, the light comes in on the front here, hits a mirror that reflects it up, and on the top, you have we'll see if I can peel this off without destroying the tape here. On the top, you have a crystal here. And then you put your sample against the crystal, and the way that the light strikes this is that it goes into the crystal, hits your sample, bounces off your sample, hits the crystal, and is totally reflected within the crystal. None of it passes back out of the crystal until it makes its way to the end, where then it passes back out and goes out into your detector. And then you have a clamp that pushes your thing down really hard on there. So you can put like solid material up here, and a little bit of light will penetrate into that solid material before it reflects back down. And so like we can potentially use that to try and just lay magnetic tape on it and see what comes back. And that should let us see the reflectance patterns of the iron oxide in the magnetic tape. And then we can dissolve the magnetic material, let the iron oxide fall out in the material that we dissolved it, and then take a spectrum of that, which should just be the binders and whatever we use to dissolve it. So we've got like all these really cool tools that I think will let us take a look at like magnetic tape from, you know, different manufacturers, or even, you know, floppy disks. Like the concept is the same between a magnetic tape and a floppy disk, and be like, yeah, these floppies have these binders, these floppies have these binders. So like, you know, the Maxell floppies are great, and these floppies are hot garbage because the binders are different, right? Like, I think that would be a very interesting video, and I think people would be quite excited to watch that.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I love the idea. It sounds like so that the light goes into the crystal and bounces off the material hundreds of times, and it gathers all the information till it finally comes out at the end and sends it into the BOMIM for analysis. Is that what I understood?
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly right. We actually sent light through it to take a test. We were able to test it when Mike was here on Wednesday. He swung by on Wednesday all day. But yeah, so it's total internal reflection. So it goes into the crystal and it bounces within the crystal until it leaves. And so since it's total internal reflection, you aren't losing any information out the bottom of the crystal. And every time it hits the top of the crystal, a little bit of that light's going to go out and hit the material and come back in. And when it does that, when it hits whatever your object under test is, it's going to come back a little different. And because that happens a trillion times, or however many times it does the little bouncy bounce on the inside, it's changing it a little bit each time, and you're getting more and more essentially information that you can figure out. And so he was like, you could do it with like peanut butter. You slather peanut butter on it, and then you can get a spectrum of peanut butter. So I don't, I want to do a video where I demonstrate just that, but I want to demonstrate just that with something that isn't as involved as like the magnetic tape thing. But I don't want it to be peanut butter because like I still want it to be vintage computing related. So I don't know, I'm still thinking of things, but yeah.
Yeah, I was just thinking about the comments. It's like, okay, this is a precision optical device. Let's put peanut butter on it.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Oh no.
Take it easy, S. Peterson. Yeah, it's getting pretty late here too.
Oh yeah.
The FFTs, I mean, sounded like music related videos did pretty well for you.
Well, yeah. So like the Doom music and the Christmas music are the two that did the most.
I was proposing that you realize Algocomp Synth's dream of running the FPS-100 as a synthesizer.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just a bit ridiculous. It's like you're trying to predict where lightning is going to strike. It's like, oh, music videos go well. It's like, sure.
Yeah, I'm not trying to go viral. I'm just trying to get the average view count up, right? Like, the average, for example, like the average view count of the LGP21 series is around 75,000 views, which is amazing. I would love it if everything was that. But the average view count for the BOMEM is around 45,000 views. Whereas the average view count for the G15 is like 85, 90,000 views or something like that. Take it easy, Richard.
See, what you could do, just real quick, to relate the two. I mean, what the way I've always thought about this stuff is the pitch, converting a sound, to a frequency. The easy example there is a guitar. Basically, you can take a guitar, pluck one string, run an FFT, and now you can make a MIDI note. So you've turned a guitar into a synthesizer. That's how they do it, or they used to do it that way. It's that's like this. That could be the seed of a video if you wanted to go that direction.
Yeah, it ends up becoming a solution looking for a problem, right?
Yeah. You can run FFTs on a modern computer. It's like, why did you port it all the way to the P11 to get into another device and to get it back and get it back to a computer? It's like, there's a plugin for that.
Well, no, what I'm getting at is you're showing the to talk about doing things like geological crap with FFTs doesn't make sense to the average person. That's something where you explain that, or you explain how they make the audio on a YouTube video faster without making the pitch change. That's an FFT and IFFT transform. That type of stuff. I'll say make it practical.
Yeah, but it's this. I have a hard time with this because it's like it's a solution looking for a problem. So I'm trying to come up with some way to demonstrate this thing that I'm really excited about, but I'm not really excited about the demonstration of it, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm excited about the XP32 processor, but I'm not really excited about audio. I'm particularly not excited about audio because I'm deaf in one ear and all audio sounds like garbage unless it's very heavy bass. Because I can still hear bass tones out of the left ear, but I can't hear anything else. So like audio's a really tough one. Also, I can't like play music on the video, and like demonstrating the quality of music is like atrocious. But what excites me about the BOMIM vector processing and the BOMIM FFTs is not the fact that it's doing FFTs and I'm trying to demonstrate what an FFT can do and what an FFT does. It's that I've got this like incredible tool now, and I can use that incredible tool to do something else. Like, I mean, you heard how excited I sounded about like talking about magnetic materials and looking at it with the BOMIM, right? Like, I'm crazy excited about that. But I'm not that excited about like sitting down and being like, here's how audio FFTs work, and I'm going to show it to you with a 50-year-old computer, right? So
I gotcha. Yeah.
At the same time, that it's not, it wouldn't be fun for you, but it's like at least a synthesizer is like it's coming from the PDP, and it's getting produced by the device itself. So it's more direct than, oh, I went through math. But at the same time, if it's not what you like, it's not useful as a project.
But there's got to be a use for this thing on the 1144 that makes it a powerful tool for something else in this room, right? You know, like the working on the BOMIM is working towards it becoming an incredibly powerful tool for analyzing capacitor goo, analyzing magnetic materials, analyzing all these things. And working on the OJ makes it an incredibly powerful tool for you know, analyzing surface materials of hard disk platters or you know, circuit boards or whatever. You know, like we could even strip a die and do what actually he was doing it for, and like analyzing the materials in the dies of ICs, right? That's a tool for this overarching world of like vintage computing, right? But I can't come up with how to make the XP32 or the FPS-100 a tool within this world. I'm still struggling with that one, but you know, it's not like the XP32 works, so.
Yeah, it's like everybody's going, it's like, I have a use case for an FFT. It's like, it's going to take me forever to get it on the FPS 100, and we have source code for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just had another idea for stuff to stick under the spectrometer. Do a cat hair versus a cat whisker.
Or a cat hair versus a rabbit hair.
That too.
I like that. Or a cat whisker versus a rabbit whisker. I don't know how. I don't know the best way to do that. I'll have to talk with Mike about how to do material handling on something so fine like that, because the focal point of the light is going to be so overwhelmingly larger than the actual hair itself that you may not get any usable signal as it passes through. So we're going to have to find a way to like dissolve the hair in a liquid to suspend it in the liquid and run that, or maybe we can crush it, put it, I don't know. I'll talk to Mike and see what he thinks about that. Mike and I are going to go on a road trip shortly, as soon as we hear back from the university, up to Ohio to pick up 2 spectrometers. And so we're going to be on the road together for like 18 hours one way. So I'll have plenty of time to be like, all right, here's a bunch of ideas. Tell me how you would do them. Yeah, and he might just say like, collect up a bunch of hair and smear it on top of the total internal reflectance crystal, you know, or just something.
Okay, another thing that might work if hair and whiskers are too small. I assume that, like cats, rabbits will lose their claw covering. Do a claw covering.
No, they don't. They just have like regular old nails, and you just have to trim them.
Yeah,
you could use the trimming.
Yeah. I mean, I could use the trimming. Every once in a while we get unlucky and she breaks a whole nail off, so I could use a whole nail if we're unlucky. Our bunny is missing nails on like 3 toes now. Where like she broke them off at the root and the nail didn't grow back. It sounds like we torture our bunny, but we don't. She just gets super excited and gets the zoomies around the room and just will catch her nail on something and break it. And it breaks it off at the root. And then she's like pissed because her foot hurts. And we're like, but it's your own fault, you know? That's happened 3 times so far.
They are headstrong creatures.
Yeah. Our first bunny, she didn't break nails off, but she broke knuckles. So like she would get the zoomies.
Ooh.
And she would get her foot caught. It hit her foot against something and it would break the knuckle in her foot. And then it would heal all scraggly. And I remember we talked to our rabbit guy. You know, we had a rabbit specialist there, and he was like, "Yeah, rabbits do that a lot. They break their toes." Jesus. Yeah, it was like they heal up pretty quick, and it doesn't generally seem to bother them. Yeah, it turns out rabbits are incredibly fragile, but they're also as excitable as like cats and dogs and get the zoomies and run around and bounce into stuff. She was our rabbit this time. She doesn't bite us usually. I mean, she bites me like once a year. She bites Mickey like once a year. But the rest of the time she like, and I'm talking serious bite. She'll like nibble on you that doesn't hurt, but like a serious bite where like she got mad about something or something spooked her. She like takes a chunk and it like almost breaks the skin and it hurts like crazy. She got me right up here a couple of months ago and that hurt like crazy. But there was one time she had the zoomies and their vision isn't so good straight in front of them. And I was just like, I was sitting down on the floor and she had the zoomies so bad that she ran into me teeth first. And her teeth are so sharp, they sliced open my finger. And she didn't bite me. She just bounced into me at speed and her teeth cut my finger open. I was like, I couldn't even be mad at her, but it was just like, all right, that's the first time you've made me bleed, you know?
Dang.
Yeah. Board Easy, I imagine you posted that a while ago, but you said, I recalled a YouTube video of someone who made their own 3.5-inch floppy. That is Polymat. And we've talked briefly through comments and so we're both aware of each other. And their technique, so Polymat's technique for laying down the magnetic material on the floppy was to use a, what's that called? Litz coil or something like that. Coil of wire around a rod. And that was that's one potential way that I'm thinking that we might have to put magnetic material onto the rotating drum for the Bendix. I'm hoping to spray it on. But if that doesn't work, then that method is an option that we might look into. But yeah, I've watched that video and we have talked to each other. And when I get deeper into the Bendix G15 recoding project, I'm going to reach out again for sure.
Mayor Rod, that's what it was.
A Mayor Rod, yeah. The Litz thing that I'm thinking of is like, that has to do with high frequency transformers or something. Litz wire.
Yep, a lot of your inductive charging coils use Litz wire.
Yeah, that's where that word's coming from. Yeah. All right, it's 1:30. I'm gonna go climb into bed because at my lovely age, my body wakes up at 7:30 a.m. regardless of what time I go to sleep. So I'm gonna be a zombie tomorrow. It's like, it's so frustrating. I wake up at 7:30 a.m. and I'm like, body, I need to sleep more, and it's like tough. And then like an hour later, my body's like, hey, you should have slept more, and I'm like, that's what I've been saying, right? All right, guys, thanks for joining. We'll see you next week.